is your home for every Patriots game.
Look into the end zone, trying to keep the play alive. Falling down, he goes to the end zone. He's got it! Touchdown!
WBZ-FM at HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
A nice comeback for the shorthanded Bruins last night in front of the home crowd. Down 2-0 with 12 minutes left. The Bruins scored 3 times for a 3-2 win in regulation and a 2-0 record, 2-0 record rather, since the trade deadline. Pavel Zacha's goal off a feed from David Pastrnak with 3:17 to go was the difference.
We just kept chipping on the game. I think, we were really good on the forecheck today and kind of good at the neutral zone. We talked about having the third guy high and we know how good they're at the neutral zone. And if we do that the whole game, we're going to get some chance and turn in pace, and we're able to do that, so it was good.
Jeremy Swayman added 26 saves in net for the win. The Bruins' next game is in Ottawa tomorrow night. Celtics had yesterday evening off. They wrap up their 7-game homestand tonight at TD Garden against the best in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Jaylen Brown is probable for this game. Jason Tatum is questionable, and Kristaps Porzingis doubtful. Grandy and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Turning to football, Patriots free agent quarterback Jacoby Brissett has signed a contract with Arizona. Buffalo has signed free agent pass rusher Joey Bosa to a 1-year contract. The Baltimore Ravens have signed wideout DeAndre Hopkins, and quarterback Daniel Jones is signed with Indianapolis. The Red Sox lost an exhibition game to Philadelphia yesterday, 18-8 in Fort Myers. Trevor Story was a late scratch with upper back tightness. Lucas Giolito left his spring debut after just 1 inning. He has hamstring tightness. Also, Brian Bayo won't be ready for opening day, and Rafael Devers will finally play in a game on Saturday. And Tiger Woods ruptured his left Achilles in a workout recently. He is out indefinitely after surgery. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lopresti and Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, the hair doctor of Hardy, Charlie McAvoy, and Tuukka Rask. Call 1-800-GET-HAIR for your free consultation. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
When has that been necessary to fact check?
And Hardy.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
On 98.5.
Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, "Boo! Boo! Boo!"
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag!
Yeah, good luck, dude.
That's like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher. And Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fence and having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go. On Hardy's friend, who he, if you missed late in the show yesterday, Hardy's friend from Puerto Rico that was driving him around, and they had a business relationship that got a little personal. They, made love.
There was no consummating of this personal relationship that you speak of.
Oral counts. I mean, a lot of times you think that it has to be biblical.
You tell me mostly mouth stuff, and I agree with you. That's still sex. But there was none of that, and it was the only thing I'll push back on here, Fred. Only thing. Most things I'm going to push back on. But you say it started as a business relationship. At that, the moment of ordering the first Uber, yes, that was business. From the moment we got into his car, it was no longer about business. It was about friendship.
Right.
Okay.
And so, there's been this debate whether to text. Hardy texted him. He texted back. And then Hardy had given listener, actually, the guy's information. And the listener had texted him and never got any information back. And then I had a friend who had a friend whose mom wanted the information. And when Hardy found out that the guy he had given Daniel's information to had never texted the kid back, Hardy realized he'd played it too cool and that he needed to post-haste get a text out to Daniel. So I guess there's an update. I don't know what happened yet.
There are updates, yes.
Yeah.
I can give them to you now.
No.
God, no.
God, no. Not until the sun comes up. I need that. Because if there's too much excitement this early, I'm gonna fall asleep during the second half of the show.
LBF just said something to me in the hallway about how this hour is like messing with her this week, and I didn't realize what had me off, but that's my excuse. I mean, it's one thing. Like none of our bodies are used to getting up to when we have to get up, and you guys have been doing this for 20 years, right? So you would think you get used to it. Still not used to it.
No.
But when you screw that up with an additional hour earlier, as you do for a couple of days, while you're getting used to it, it makes it even worse. So, yeah, I think that's what's got me thrown off this week, too. It feels like your body says, oh, no, it's 3-something, not 4-something. It's 3-something that you're getting up now. That's no good.
Well, it's been a bit of a coup for me with this weather because I can go at my old house has a big backyard and my old dog is there, so I can bring my garbage dog to that house and put them both in this big backyard if it's nice, and then instead of just going home, I've just ended up sleeping there for like an hour and a half, and then so I don't have to worry about the dog. I don't have to go back and forth, and it's been quite a coup for me, but now it's not nice anymore, so I'm not doing that. But for 2 days, I got uninterrupted sleep.
You do a couch nap over there? What are you doing?
I've fallen asleep on the couch once, and then one time I went to the third floor.
All right.
To where during the estrangement before the separation, where I would sleep.
The old stomping grounds.
Yep. Kind of like Fonzie's loft above the garage.
Exactly. I had hysterical blindness, and I put together a motorcycle up there one time.
And you couldn't even see, and you put that bike together.
Well, I mean, that's what Mrs. C made me do.
Yeah.
She didn't want me to just sit and
tough love
to worry about it. And by the way, that episode was before the show got weird.
Oh.
That Happy Days with hysterical blindness, while there was a hint of realism to the show.
Henry Winkler sitting on that bike, staring off into space, polishing the headlight, as the thing is finally put together,
Yeah, he
what
saw
an image.
Leather Tuscadero and Mrs. C scissoring, and he went hysterically blind.
Wow. I thought he just saw Leather Tuscadero in a moment of undress and didn't know what exactly he saw.
Oh, there
was some anatomy going on there that he had not witnessed before.
No. I just think that it would be a lot of lax grooming, is what I would imagine if Leather Tuscadero, based on what they said she smelled like.
Yeah.
Apparently, Leather Tuscadero, if you know Happy Days, she had a bit of an odor problem.
It was the leather suit they made her wear. It wasn't her fault.
No, I think that she could have not smelled. I think that easily could have happened.
Pinky wore leather. She didn't smell. I mean, what's going on?
Well, Pinky didn't wear leather, so
She was a hot pink. It was like a cotton number.
Yeah.
Fred, might I suggest something to you?
Sure.
When you're doing the doggy play date, nap thing going on, what if you were to stay outside with the dog, dogs plural, and have yourself a snooze in a hammock? Why don't we get you a hammock over there at the old homestead?
Yeah, let's just spend. Let's, in addition to the alimony and child support
and the hot tub and the batting cage and everything else that's still over there.
Yeah, let me see if I can't buy some more stuff over there.
Okay, hold on. Let's workshop this. What if I were to tell you that we could screw in a couple of eye hooks into a couple of trees, and you just take the hammock with you, and you just hang it whenever you go over there? You could even have a separate little duffel bag that you use for your hammock, and you walk in with your dog on the leash, and you got the duffel slung over one shoulder. Hey, everybody, we're here to play, and then you string up that hammock. You have yourself a snooze.
You really do like the Andy Griffith show. Because why don't I be like the cartoon Nancy and take a snooze under a tree?
That only works if you're next to a river.
Well, I don't know that you'll be able to sleep.
Or Beetle Bailey it.
That's right.
Because your next door neighbors might have a pie cooling on the windowsill.
Yeah.
And that's going to wake you from your slumber.
Exactly. Or that drunk might come by and start waking me up.
Otis. Well, he got into the shine and, found that still.
Mm-hmm. How many episodes was Otis in? Otis the drunk on the Andy Griffith show?
I don't know. Probably at least 8, I would say.
Oh, so like only 8?
Yeah, I'm gonna say 8 to 12.
So he wasn't like a regular thing.
It's pretty regular. Ernest T. Bass is probably the character that is most beloved that appears with the least amount of frequency. The Ernest T. Bass episodes are fantastic, but there aren't that many of them.
Is Goober, was that a jump the shark moment?
No, I don't think that show really jumped the shark until Opie's voice changed a little bit. And then I saw one last night, which, to their credit, they never show on Sundance. They only show the black and whites. But I saw a colorized Andy Griffith last night on another channel. And once it went to, the full color, it lost it. It just lost something. That show is meant for black and white.
Oh, is there like an Andy Griffith? Notice how I have to overpronounce Griffith because it drives you insane when I don't get it right. That just Andy Griffith shows? Because have you ever turned on your TV and hit the wrong button, and all of a sudden you end up in this universe where there's a Baywatch channel and like a Night Court channel? And like a Johnny Carson channel, like you've never done that?
No.
Have you ever gone on vacation and like rented a house and then you get in because they like want to pay as little as they can for TV, and you get in and it's like some weird like fire stick or something,
or it's just the LG TV and their network, like the LG network, and they'll have the Beverly Hillbillies network.
Yeah, there's this whole world of TV where they're. Like I mean, there's like a Portlandia network, and that's on YouTube TV. Oh. Like when I'm at my ex-wife's house, like I know it's weird. I'm not there. It sounds like I'm there more often than I'm not. But compared to most separated couples or divorced couples, I'm there, I guess, a fair amount. I'm in there almost every day when I drop off the kids. But like Zoe does this exercise routine at my ex-wife's house. So like after school, I'll take her there. And while she's doing it, sometimes I'll screw around with the TV. And there's a Portlandia network. It's only the show Portlandia, which is a decent show. And I love Fred Armisen. But it's whole network of just Portlandia. And I'm not making that up. That's there 24 hours a day.
That's odd.
But there is that thing, if you hit the wrong button on the TV, that there's all old Johnny Carsons, which seems intriguing, right? Like, it seems like something that you could, like, fall into, but Johnny Carson, not topical.
He would. Have you seen that story that was floating around the last couple of days? Maybe it was on Cracked or something else. I know it was some site that you probably read too, but how Johnny Carson made a point of not doing anything current or political. Like, he wouldn't make jokes in his monologue or during the show about anything having to, like, anything controversial.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually read his lawyer's autobiography.
I read that too.
Yeah, and that was part of it, how Carson would attack doing things and trying to stay as neutral as possible in this regard.
Well,
yes.
Here we go. The reason Saturday Night Live is on the air is because Carson used to play Carson replays on Saturday nights. And then in 1975, he said, I want to save those replays because I only want to do 3 shows a week. And then I want you to replay. Mm-hmm. So even back in 1975, and Carson left the air in the early 90s.
92, I think.
He was doing, Wind Beneath My Wings. He was doing, remember Bette Midler came out and made me cry?
Yes, I do.
He was doing only 3-day shows a week, which is kind of insane.
Yeah, and that was he started in like the mid-'60s, right? So it was 10 years, and all of a sudden he was in control. Said, you know what? I'm not going to work X, Y, and Z. And the network was like, okay.
He was their biggest star, which is
by
crazy.
Far. Wasn't even close.
Because that's an 11:30 show, which now is nothing. Now the 11:30 shows, I mean, I like Jimmy Kimmel a lot personally. Every time he's in town, he'll come in and he'll hang out. But when was the last time you thought about the Jimmy Kimmel show? And he's my favorite out of all of them. I like him a lot personally too. He's like really cool. He's like an actually like really really cool guy. But and this is in no way an insult to him at all. I've been to his show. I've hung out with him at his show, like all that stuff. But when was the last time that you like thought about that existing? The only one I ever hear about is Fallon, and that's because it's aggravating. Like, it's completely aggravating.
I mean, I haven't watched one of those shows. I haven't consumed it even in like real form. Thank my my lucky algorithm that I don't get fed any of the Fallon stuff
Neither
anymore.
do I.
Maybe because if you never click on it, then it it just learns that okay, this isn't for this person. But I don't even get the stuff from the people that I like Kimmel or. I don't know. I mean, I like Jimmy Kimmel like back in the day, but to say I like his show now, I don't know. I haven't watched that show. I've never watched it.
But if I was going to watch one, I don't particularly think Stephen Colbert is funny in this role, and I hate Fallon. So I would definitely, if you said watch one of the three, I would 100 times out of 100.
What about
watch
Trevor
Jimmy Kimmel.
Noah? Now he's a delight.
Trevor Noah, my son actually enjoyed that book, because he had to read it for school. But Trevor Noah is what you know is an applause comedian, where people nod in agreement and go, woo! That's what Trevor Noah is. No, I don't find Trevor Noah funny at all. I think Trevor Noah says things that he knows that his audience is going to clap and say, woo, to, which is... not something that you want. You want to push the boundaries of what your audience will accept and then turn it around and win them over. Yes.
How often is Jon Stewart on that show now?
I don't know.
I know he came back.
He came back to do like Mondays during the campaign and election, but I think I think you're right. I think he's still I think he's still doing like something on a somewhat regular basis.
I'm the only person who liked Craig Kilborn more. Paul, and I did. Paul, go ahead.
So, Fred, if you have a Samsung TV, they have a Samsung Plus, and they run 24 hours of Pawn Stars, 24 hours of American Pickers, Little House on the Prairie, all those old shows.
Yeah.
If you have Amazon Prime, they have a live TV option. They have like a network. It's dedicated to like 24 hours of A-Team. Then they'll switch it to Miami Vice, Magnum PI.
Oh, well, do you know what's on the Samsung TV is Family Ties? There's a 24-hour-a-day Family Ties network. That show, a little depressing. I'm not going to lie to you, Paul.
Yeah.
No, especially when Alex's friend died and they did that episode where he was talking to himself like a therapist.
Oh, well, yeah, and there's like a spotlight on him, and he's just like, he's in the therapist audience.
That was a very special Family Ties.
Oh, yeah. And then how about the one where Tom Hanks is the alcoholic, and he drinks maraschino cherry, or he drinks vanilla or something.
Yeah.
He drinks something where I'm not positive that would even get you drunk.
Oh, the vanilla, that works. Yeah.
Oh, it does? Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just drink mouthwash?
You can do that too. You can try rubbing alcohol.
No, you can't. You'll just throw it right back up.
Ask Kitty Dukakis. Isn't she the one that tried that?
I know Kitty Dukakis. Right. She made my daughter cry. Paul, thank you. Yeah, Kitty Dukakis shook my daughter's hand in such a hard way that she made my daughter cry.
Oh,
and
that's funny.
I guess that's fairly common.
Huh.
Oh, yeah,
common for your daughter or common for Kitty Dukakis?
Common for Kitty Dukakis.
Oh.
She has a real mean handshake.
Nice.
Not the nicest.
Am I thinking of the right woman? Who was during the presidential campaign or right afterwards? One of the candidates' wives ended up on the front lawn drinking rubbing alcohol.
Yes, that you are thinking of Kitty Dukakis. She did have an alcohol problem.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, we were at a friend who's a relative of the Dukakis' house. It's not as glamorous as it sounds, and Kitty and Michael Dukakis were there, and Michael Dukakis is. I just know he was in a tank one time and looked like a jackass, so I don't really care either way about him.
I thought it looked cool.
I like the woman a lot.
I wanted to do it.
And she shook my daughter's hand, and she's like, and shook my daughter's hand. My daughter was like, she's 14, so say she was 8.
Yeah.
And my daughter was like, And then they're like, oh yeah, she does that. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
All right, very good. I wasn't blown away by the Dukakis. I didn't find it to be.
I don't blame you. But let's talk more about the hammock.
All right.
Let's get you into a hammock.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just I'll give you a sum of money and you just add it to everything else I give her. That would be a good idea.
Nate Bargatze does a long bit about trying to buy a hammock, and the guy at the store doesn't know what it is, and then he starts second guessing himself. It's like, am I saying it wrong? Like, is it even a word? And then how he calls a fellow comedian of his because he's afraid he's going to come off as too rich and successful if he does a bit about going to buy a hammock.
Yeah, you don't want to go over their head.
Yeah. I still want to appear as an everyman comedian.
Sure.
Am I going to sound stuck up if I'm out shopping for a hammock?
Hammock sounds like something you would never use. Even if you go to a place that has a... You know what's annoying? And then I'll stop. You ever go to a resort on vacation and they'll have a hammock out in the resort, and it's for just to look at. I mean, no one's really supposed to get in that thing.
The kids get in it for a minute, and then they fall out and hurt themselves and cry, and then you move on.
And then you find a couple that are sitting feet to feet in the hammock, and they're sitting there like they're enjoying it, and you just what do you got to use everything? Are you going to use the giant chess set too? Are you going to just use every little thing that's at the resort and pretend that you're doing it? These things are here for the appearances. They're knickknacks. They're not. You're not supposed to get in the hammock, stupid, and hang out in there all day.
It's okay, and you don't play with the big chess set. I did it once on a cruise ship, but somebody had stolen one of the bishops, probably for nefarious purposes.
Well, cruise ship, if you're on it long enough, I suppose anything's fair game. All right,
Pointy
look.
on the end, John.
Oh, all right, I got it.
All right, we got to go. Leave. We'll be right back. are Toucher and Hardy. What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game of what happened. So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR. I had bedhead yesterday. I didn't comb it before we went on the air, and then Scott was saying how it looked like I was losing my hair. So maybe I'll go to Dr. Matthew Lepresti again.
Scott said that?
Scott said
Zolak?
That. Yeah.
Scott Zolak doubled and tripled down on his query yesterday or 2 days ago when he asked if Spillane was a Spanish name. And I mentioned it on the air. He texted me during the show, which I did not see until afterward. He said, I thought it was a legitimate question. And then when I saw him during the crossover yesterday, he asked me again, Spillane, isn't that like a Spanish name? And I finally just said yes and walked away.
Just to stop it.
I don't know.
I don't want to deal with it anymore.
I don't know what to do. I mean, how do you
I can't help you.
How do you talk to him?
What is he? But what's the interest there in it being it's not obviously. But what's the interest in it being a Spanish name?
I suppose it interests him more than learning his actual statistics and potential value to the football team.
Yeah.
Okay. There you go.
I mean, I'm one to talk. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him other than I'm pretty sure Spillane is not a Spanish name. But beyond that, what do I know about him? Less.
I'm gonna. You know what? While you're doing the Bruins, I'm gonna Google famous Spillanes.
Okay.
Oh, great.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, we're Bruins last night hosting Brad Marchand's new team, the Florida Panthers. Brad Marchand, of course, not playing. He did give a few people cause to do double takes when he was out there for the morning skate yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But no, there was no chance he was going to be playing last night, or it is widely believed anytime soon.
Paul Maurice was quick to point out after morning skate when all the reporters huddled around him, said, is he playing tonight? He's like, no, probably near the end of the regular season.
Yeah.
Which is what we were told 2 days ago.
Right.
Yeah.
This is not a surprise to them. And then, Sweeney said as much after the trade that he said he's probably still a month away. So
Timeout, shush. Irish.
Spillane.
Frank Morrison Spillane. You'll know him as Mickey Spillane. Primarily raised in Elizabeth, New Jersey, Spillane was the only child of an Irish bartender father, John Joseph Spillane, and a Scottish mother, Catherine Ann. So that to me sounds like Spillane would be Irish.
Yeah.
I thought it was Italian, but
Spillane.
Because it ended with a vowel.
Sure.
But I'm just doing a little research on my own.
Thank you.
Back to the game.
All right. So the Bruins facing a very good Florida Panthers team, defending Stanley Cup champions, and found themselves in a 2-0 deficit in the third period when
Pasternak settles it and gives it on to the right circle for Lindholm.
They're just aggressive all over. Look at wide open in front.
Right in front, chance, Pasternak scores! Middlestead out of the right corner. Pasta was all by himself in front. It's 2-1.
They're so aggressive that if you move the puck quickly, someone's going to be wide open.
How about
Timeout, shush. The surname Spillane is of Irish Cork origin. An anglicized form of Gaelic means Max Spillane or O Spillane, meaning son of Spillane.
So Florida was being aggressive and allowed some passing lanes to open up
Good
in front
for
of the
Bob
net.
Beers. Good for Bob Beers for calling that before it happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So exciting. Makes it a 2-1 game, but it's obviously not enough, especially against a team as good as Florida.
On the wall, Lindholm, Lauko, Husnudinov, all trying to get that puck free.
Flauco.
Here's
Where's Amadeus?
Score! Mason Lohrei from between the circles, and the Bruins tie it at 2.
There we go.
Can I just say one more time how good Ryan is at this?
Yeah, Ryan's really good at it.
I mean, really, he nailed it. It was great.
Yeah, I heard the first period on and off in the car. First and a little bit of the second. I watched the third period. I kept it on because I was doing other stuff, even when they were down.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw the comeback, but Ryan's great. Ryan, I don't want to step on any toes, but Ryan is the best I've heard at it I've been here almost 20 years.
Can we get personalized goal songs already, though?
All trying to get that puck free. It'll come free. Here's Warai moving toward the slot. Score!
Thank you.
Mason Warai from between the circles of the Bruins.
Warai.
Yeah. All right, well, hold on. Let's cue it up again.
Take it easy.
Let's do a compare and contrast.
All trying to get that puck free. It'll come free. Here's Warai moving toward the slot.
Well, yeah, rocks. It's not some Mexican stuff. It's just rocks.
Yeah, it's not by that Spillane group.
Yeah, that Spillane group going lowrider all the time. And a bunch of Spillanes.
Robert Spillane project with a bunch of maracas and
the group War, a bunch of Mexicans, right?
the big guitar. All right, that's all fine and good.
Is that not a Mexican band?
No.
What, that lowrider song?
It's not.
Melting pot of musicians.
But okay, so Spill the Wine. Was it Eric Burden in War?
No, Eric Burden was in the Animals.
Do you remember Spill That Wine,
is
the video for it, when it used to be on MTV because they didn't have any videos to play? That Spill That Wine was terrifying.
I don't
Spill the Wine
that
is
one.
the debut single by singer Eric Burden and the band War.
Oh, man. All right. Oh, sure enough. Past members, Eric Burden. Okay.
Spill That Wine is so odd. Such an odd song that it's mesmerizing.
It is mesmerizing. And I love how they use it in Boogie Nights.
Oh, yeah.
In the pool scene. But I remember my friend Mark Harper and I being like 10 years old and listening to, it was a classic rock song 40 years ago.
This off, please.
I'll watch it during the break.
Do you know the What's Up With That?
Oh, of course, yeah.
When the guy from who's the guy that was married to Olivia Munn?
Richard Burton.
Well, now no one's gonna think of it anyway. Like, you know how he wears the afro wig and like wears the
Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis. Yes. There's a guy that looks and is moving like Jason Sudeikis in that skit.
So you got to think that's probably what Sudeikis based it on, then, right? Because if you were terrified by that music video, I'm sure others were as well.
And he has an instrument. Oh my God, you got to watch it.
All right, I'll pull it up.
It looks like there's something wrong with him.
This is the video for Spill the Wine?
Yeah. It's like horrendous because it's got like they insisted on those visuals in the background.
And it's the band is performing the song.
Their game against the Panthers last night, courtesy of a Mason Lowry goal, 2-2 in the third period. I can't tell you that I felt they were going to end up winning this game last night. I thought it was nice that they had managed to tie it, but thought for sure that Florida would assert themselves, and it went the other way.
It back to Zadorov, just kept it in. Pasternak now pivots away from Forsling. He's got one in front, score! Zaka! And the Bruins have the lead!
Just good work. Zadorov barely keeps this in. It's right in front of the Florida bench. Just going to rotate it back down the boards. And Pasternak makes a nice move, spin move, in that left wing corner.
So Pasternak with a goal to get it going in the third period, makes a nice move there for Pavel Zacha to finish and get the 3-2 lead. That would be your final, but there was a dust-up at the end of the game between Zadorov and Sam Bennett, who is a huge piece of crap that nobody likes. And he decided to get into it with Zadorov in front of Swayman last night at the end of the game.
This time the gloves come off, and it's Zadorov and Bennett. And Zadorov with a couple of heavy right hands, and Bennett goes down into the crease.
Now, what bothers me about this on the national call that I heard on the way in this morning, it sounds like they were giving all the credit to Bennett for squaring off against somebody, giving up 25 pounds, and saying, oh, he's hanging in there. He got the bag beat out of him. Zadorov landed a right hook that absolutely buckled him. The only reason why it looked like Bennett did well is because after the rest tried to separate him, he stood up and started trying to get in rabbit punches afterward.
Hold me back.
And a little bit, I mean, that's it. That's the fourth and final meeting between the two, I believe. They're not going to play again.
No,
but if Zadorov has a chance to get him next year, there will be payback for that. When Zadorov left the ice last night, the crowd loved it. He won the fight, but you could tell he was pissed. Pissed.
Yeah, you could tell that was the last meeting of the season and that there's a lot of bad blood. I mean, there was dust-ups all over the place last night. And look, as you've read other people talk about, Florida's the team that broke the Bruins. I mean, that's why the Bruins were the way they were this season in an effort to be able to be heavier against them in the playoffs, and it ended up backfiring. But if they can, I wonder if Sacco can save his job if they continue like this.
He's playing. We've talked about this last week. I mean, Pasternak almost 22 minutes last night as a forward. And I think Zadorov was the only guy on the ice more than him last night. But this is, in case you're not a hockey fan, incredibly unusual. I mean, the Bruins don't win without Pasternak. He scored the first goal. He set up the last goal. I think he was actually on the ice for the second goal also. I have to check that, but he is the only reason the Bruins are in these games. And if you ever wonder how good this guy is, he's got nothing around him, and the Bruins are winning games. It's because of him, by himself, doing all of this.
It's funny because the Rangers and the Red Wings are imploding. So they could, the Bruins have game. I mean, look, the Bruins are not going to make the playoffs in all high likelihood, but they could end up being like the team just out of the wild card, like the team right in front of that. That would be funny.
Alyssa just tweeted me, and he's right. Morgan Geekie has 22 goals because he's skating on a line with Pasternak.
Yeah.
I mean, he's having a career year because he's skating with the right guy.
I mean, since those trades, they've beaten Tampa and they've beaten Florida, which are the top two teams in the East. So, I mean.
Yeah. No, they're playing well. And it's really easy now to root for this team because you flip on the TV or turn on Ryan, you have no expectations of them winning. And they just beat Tampa Bay and Florida, which they couldn't do when they were fully staffed. So good for them.
Well, they could beat Tampa, in fairness, but not Florida, yes.
What a turnaround for the Red Wings. 7 straight wins, and then very quietly have lost their last 6 games and 8 of their last 10.
Oh.
And that came after a 7-game win streak.
Yeah, they're not very good. I told you I was listening to the radio in Detroit while we were there, and the guy was carrying on about how that he thought they were the Eastern Conference Finals team, that they were going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I thought, what team are you watching? They're a couple years away from challenging for any of that.
Something else was going on last night, Fred, and that was the secondary option for watching the game over on NESN Plus.
Mm-hmm.
This was called the Snow Day game?
Yep. On a day it was 65 degrees outside in March.
I played golf yesterday, but it was a snow day.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Couldn't have done that in February or January when it's legit cold around here.
I don't get it. Okay. I don't know why it's called Snow Day. It was a cartoon. What it was. It was
they stole it from, the national broadcast, yes.
Yeah, so it's a live version of the game, cartoon style. The technology is amazing that they can actually get it. It was only on about I would say a 20-second delay from the NESN feed, because I would, watch a play and like, oh, how is that going to look over on the cartoon version? But it's not only how it looked, it's how it sounded.
Elias Lindholm, and then David Pasternak scores! Pasta's 33rd of the year. The pasta's boiling in Boston.
No. That was amazing. Pasternak, hungry for that puck, hungry for that goal, like a dog with a scoop of peanut butter.
I believe that's Andrew Ferentz doing the color analysis there.
I'd give money to hear Bob Beers say that.
Pasternak centers it. Pavel Zacha scores! Pavel Zacha ties, or gives the Bruins, I should say, a 3-2 lead after the Bruins had tied it. It's Zacha.
Checkmate. Zacha from his fellow Czechia native.
Okay. Yeah. Adam Pellerin there also, your other voice on the Snow Day.
So NESN's punted everything. They just punted everything. They're like, we're not even a network anymore outside of these games. And they're investing time and technology into a cartoon that no one, I mean, I would venture to guess, how many people do you think watched that last night?
12?
Yeah, I think under 100.
Yeah.
So that seems like an awful lot of effort to get no one to watch. You could pad your day a little bit, put on some programming, but they've just completely given up on that.
I don't understand it. I don't know why you do it at this time of year. I don't know why you insist on calling it a snow day again when spring is here and nobody wants to think about snow anymore. I don't know why you invest resources, time, technology in that and don't televised spring training games. I don't understand.
I bet you if you went to NESN today at noon, there might be no one there. Like if you went to the building, there might be
no bet. No bet.
Yeah, that there you would go in there and you could knock on the door, you could ring the doorbell, you could call, and there would be no one answering the phone and no one there.
Well, there might be someone at the front desk taking messages.
Oh, well, we don't have a front desk.
That's
And if we don't have one, I can assure you NESN doesn't have one.
We do, just no one's ever sat there.
Yeah.
Where's the front desk?
It's over there in that other door. There's a whole reception area.
Right. That's where we had to go by to take our pictures and go in that room.
I'd never noticed
That's the reception area.
Oh,
yeah.
I've seen our Marconi Awards all shiny up in there.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. When we come back, if you've gone to the Instagram page, you've seen what we're about to talk about. Hardy has got a father-son kind of mentor-mentee relationship with our intern. He's trying to steal my thunder after my Hofstra kids all came in, but I'll let him have it. Listen, if it's good for the youth, I'm all for it.
You're saying he's my Isaac?
Isaac!
Hi.
Yep.
Feel that electricity.
He seems to be your Isaac, so we'll get down to it. You can listen to a real mentor. We'll have that for you in just a moment.
You're listening to Touch.
had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the...
Years ago, I suppose it would be in the 90s, was matriculating at Michigan State University, and he didn't want to just limp by in school. He wanted to experience life. He wanted to grab life by the horns and milk it for all it's worth. And you did that by doing what, Hardy?
By joining the most elite of athletic endeavors at Michigan State. George Perlis was the football coach. I really didn't like what he was doing there. Judd Heathcote, was doing a manageable job with the basketball team, but they had fallen on some hard times too. So I decided instead to focus my efforts on ultimate, and always a thrower of the disc. You understand? Trained by my father.
No track and field.
No, track and I don't even think
discus.
No.
People might get confused.
I don't know if Michigan State had a track team. What we had were big open spaces at our beloved MUU, as it was an agricultural school originally, and lots of space to throw the disc. Trained by my father from an early age, where he would take me in the backyard with a cigarette in one hand, and he'd throw the disc with the other. And after about 3 or 4 tosses, he would say, okay, the next time I have to move, I'm going in. And that would focus me in to make sure I was throwing to the target. You understand?
It's like a Greg Santini type of thing.
If he had to take a step to catch one of my throws, the game was over.
Oh.
Now, had he grown up with a father that pushed him in the game of ultimate?
Well, I think they were probably only pie tins at the time.
Okay, but your father had a passion for it too. How did you get him out in the backyard throwing the disc? He wanted to teach you?
Like my father, I, from an early age, developed an ability to succeed at fringe athletic pursuits. Whether, catching quarters off the back of your hand, throwing a frisbee or a disc, as it is now called. Things like that.
Now, you were a magician. Is ultimate the magic of sports?
Well, it is a magical flying object, Fred. And as
I meant more that losers do it.
No.
Oh boy.
No, Fred. As it has been written,
the temperature has dropped
and said by men far wiser than me. When a ball goes to sleep at night, it dreams of being a frisbee.
Oh.
The things that it can do.
Plato, I believe.
Yeah. So we have our intern Reese in here with us, who very late to the party informed me that not only was he an ultimate player, but actually a member of his college ultimate team. Reese, that is correct. What's your last name, by the way?
Merritt.
As a merit badge. Did you know that?
No.
Okay.
I didn't know his first name.
What's Isaac's last name?
Isaac?
Yeah.
Mentor. Mentee. Isaac Mentee.
You don't know Isaac's last name?
No, why would I know Isaac's last name? He's
Do you know it?
Brindell.
Brindell.
Okay.
I think I knew that.
That's what he.
I think I knew that.
The intern knew that.
That's what he told you guys. That's not real. I mean, Isaac told me to keep it on the DL, so whatever.
Oh, all right.
So, Reese, not only do you play ultimate at Springfield College, but you're actually on the team, and where are you off to?
We are off to Myrtle Beach for a whole week. It's going to be lots of fun.
To play golf, to dip your toes in the ocean, to do what?
We're going to dip our toes in the ocean just a little bit, but we'll play some Frisbee. I just...
No, sir. No. What are you going to play?
Ultimate Frisbee.
No.
Is it? I
can't believe
got
this kid.
Ultimate.
Yeah,
There
all
you go.
right. Now we're talking.
No, but what do you think
said
you did,
Frisbee?
Reese? What do you think you did wrong there?
What I did wrong was I, did not see Hardy eye to eye.
No. You said something wrong. What'd you say?
I said Frisbee in the word. I said Frisbee within the name of the sport, and it's just supposed to be ultimate.
Okay, so in ultimate, what do you throw?
A disc.
All right, finally.
Good comeback.
Hardy has insulted me and John and I several times by using the term Frisbee, which he says it's not Kleenex, it's facial tissue. It's not tampon. It's devil's finger. It is. It's not a frisbee. It's a disc. Frisbee is a brand name, right?
Frisbee is a brand name trademarked by the Whammo Corporation.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So
as were most of your gags. For your magician.
No, those were the
fake dog poo.
No, those were from the Harry Blackstone Jr. Beginner's Kit.
Did Whammo, when you bought your Frisbee from Whammo, and I'm using it correctly, if you bought a Frisbee from Whammo, did it come with fake vomit, or did it come with a gum that was foul tasting?
Very good. Very good. Yeah.
So it's a novelty.
It's a novel. It is not a novelty item.
Okay.
Now the one. Actually, the one made by Whammo is considered a bit of a toy, but that is not the official disc of Ultimate. We'll get to that. So what is the name of the tournament that you're going to, Reese?
It is High Tide.
High Tide, Myrtle Beach. When do you leave?
We leave Saturday, probably like 5 a.m.
Okay.
Early in the morning.
Is this a co-ed team?
It is.
Oh, boy.
Is that
That's
allowed?
how you win. That's
Is
how
that
you win.
That's allowed, right?
Of course it's allowed. It's not real.
There are men's teams, there are women's teams, there are co-ed teams. Just like at Wimbledon, mixed doubles.
Do you prefer the all-men's team, or have you played on a co-ed team?
I've played pickup co-ed, but
when you get serious, though, it's all men.
No, yeah, you can have serious at any level. But
Okay.
when I played, at the club level, I only played on men's teams.
Okay.
Okay. All right, Reese. I am very worried for you and in your ultimate career. So we are going to embark on the ultimate test.
Okay.
And I'm just going to quiz you on a few things relating to ultimate to see if you're truly ready.
Say, I got the ultimate frisbee. It does phenomenal things. It can fly anywhere when it glides through the air. It doesn't even need wings.
This is an actual song.
Yeah, no, I know you didn't. That wasn't you.
We've talked about the age of technological indulgence, and maybe no better example of it than right there, the Ultimate Frisbee song. All right, Reese, to ensure that you're ready for High Tide this weekend, and the name of your Springfield College Ultimate team is?
The Springfield College Pride.
Okay, Springfield College Pride.
Yep.
I will give you several ultimate questions.
Okay.
And or related to ultimate to see that you're in the right mindset for this tournament this weekend. Are you ready?
I'm sure I am ready.
Okay. Number one, I already know the answer to this question. Do you have a disc with you?
Sure do.
Yes, you
Can't
do.
go anywhere without it.
Okay.
All right, because you guys were playing downstairs. Now, Reese, were you impressed with Hardy's, the way he threw it?
At first, I was concerned. I thought, maybe he needed to stretch out a little bit. But once he brought out the hammer, for people who don't know, it's over the head, and those ceilings are low. I realized
Because you
here's the real
guys were
deal.
throwing it not like you would hold it like you would a knife, and then no, I'm not joking. And you would, I don't know how else to describe it. You would throw. How would you describe that, John? Like a hammer?
Yeah, you're over the top.
Yeah, like you're
stabbing someone like
right. You had it vertically, and then it ends up horizontally.
By
right?
the way, did you notice they went out in the atrium and they were throwing it around? Reese, instead of warming up and doing the normal backhanded flip, started off going sidearm with the right hand as if to try and impress Hardy right off.
But in all
I can do
seriousness,
this.
when you throw a disc, do you throw it like you're like a knife, and then you rotate your wrist into a horizontal motion?
Well, I would say that, there are a lot of different throws, but the three basics are the backhand, the forehand, or the
flick.
Thank you. The kid knows. What
there you go.
Or the overhand, or the hammer. Tomahawk is what some people call it, which is
hammer. I said hammer.
Yeah, hammer throw. Those, I would say, are your three main throws, and it really depends on what the defense is doing and what you're trying to accomplish with the throw. It has to do with the wind. It has to do with where your receiver is going. So, what's happening on the field will dictate which of those throws you're going to make. I would say in high-level ultimate, the most common throw is the forehand or the flick. You can get a lot on that. Yeah. It's the backhand tends to float a little bit more and hang up in the air, and there's not as precise. The hammer, it's a great throw. If you throw it correctly, you can drop it right in the breadbasket of your receiver. But,
has there ever been like a freewheeling kind of Pete Maravich of the disc game that was going Twix legs and things of that nature?
Well, I mean, I'm going to start saying names that you guys may know. Chris Starr, who I play with, Michigan State Club Ultimate. That guy could do things with a disc. Matt Hunter, who actually performed halftime shows at various sporting events doing freestyle Frisbee tricks. He could throw
I've only seen him in the crying game at the end.
Matt Hunter, who is also an amateur boxer. He could do anything you wish with the disc. But no, this isn't about trick shots or trick throws. This is about scoring goals, which is the whole point of you going to Myrtle Beach for this high tide tournament. Where did you get the disc that you brought with you this morning?
That one was from Maine. That was from,
No, I mean, like, where was it in your home or whatever before you brought it here?
Oh, it was in my dorm. That's where it was.
You should always carry one in the car, okay? You should
Really?
always, yes, you should always have one
I
in
have
the
a
car.
tennis ball in my car instead of a Frisbee. Is that not allowed? You're giving me a face.
What do you have a tennis ball for?
To throw around.
I don't know if he.
What the hell's going on with this
kid's not
kid?
committed.
You,
He's not committed.
you carry a tennis ball around to just have a catch?
Yeah, why not?
With who?
Well, we talking about dogs before. Why not?
In case you encounter a stray dog and you wanna,
or another person.
Isaac.
Oh boy,
you are missed.
Oh my God.
Reese, you're losing points rapidly.
I mean, I remember when Isaac
good.
was here.
Oh,
Isaac came in and would kill it.
Oh. That's correct.
Jesus.
All right. What is the name of your disc that we were throwing out there this morning? What name did you give it?
I didn't have a name for it. It's going to be wrong, but should you look at it and look at the words?
All right. I want you to give your disc a name right now. Much like BB King would name his guitar,
Yes.
you have to
He'll get that
name your
reference.
disc.
Why not Freddie?
It has to be a woman's name.
Well, maybe he feels that way about me. Who are we to judge? You won't be the last. First or the last.
You want to name it Freddie? Freddie could be a woman's name.
I'm
All right.
honored,
You know
Reese.
what?
Thank
We'll
you.
accept that. All right, very good.
Thank you, Reese. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Why does Springfield College have a football team, Reese?
Why?
Yes.
Well, I mean, they're fantastic at athletics, but as for why, I have no idea.
No. Even I know the answer to this.
Wallach?
It couldn't make the ultimate team.
Thank you very much, John Wallach.
How do you not know that?
For the kids who weren't good enough to make the ultimate team to have something to do. That's why Springfield College has a football team. Okay?
Yes.
National power, too.
All right. Final question for Reese as he embarks on High Tide, the ultimate tournament taking place in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, with the Springfield College pride. Reese, what is the G spot?
Oh, jeez.
Don't look at me.
It's a fairy tale.
It's a spot on a guitar. It's a spot on a guitar.
Fred Toucher got it right. It does not exist. You shouldn't be thinking about that or anything else sexual with any gender or at any time. You've got an ultimate tournament to worry about, and that's what you need to be thinking about right now.
All right. I have a lesson. Reese, you're going to run into some obstacles playing this game, and one of them is bullies. Scott Zolak, go ahead.
What the hell is this crap?
Well, Scott, you
No, seriously, do you know, boy, you work at a sports station?
I sure do.
Brody, he didn't know what the G spot was. Brody's dying laughing here. He's 15. You got to grow up, son.
Hey.
Spend a day with me, okay?
I have other things to
Spend a day with me.
prioritize, according to Hardy.
Now, Scott, you played football, right, at Maryland? You played the
Yeah,
game
and I
of
never
football.
carried a tennis ball around to play catch with a dog.
All right. Did you ever pick up the disc and get involved with the ultimate team?
Ask Hardy. Ask Hardy about it. I'm into the Frisbee. I'm into throwing it.
Well, Zoe and I, as a matter of fact, the disc that I carry around with me has
He's opening his work bag, and in his work bag,
This
he
is an
has-
old disc that Zoe and I threw around on the golf course at one of our golf tournaments. And
I was there that day.
Somebody
yeah.
picked it up and wrote "Zoe sucks" on the back of it, which is very mean.
Well, that's
But-
like promise sucks. It's like it almost means the opposite.
But I mean,
How old is this kid? How old is this kid?
75.
He's in college,
21.
so.
21.
Jesus Christ. Springfield?
Sure
Yeah.
am.
Oh, boy. Good luck, kid.
All right,
All right,
thanks,
there you
Zoe.
go.
There
All
you go.
right, well, listen, Reese, thank you so much for coming in. Good luck in your tournament. And I think you did, except for saying Frisbee, I think that
I
you
didn't do
passed.
well. We can say it.
No, I think you did fine. I think you did fine. You were good on air. I mean, you didn't choke on air, so that was good. Well, listen, Reese, best of luck to you. You're a great intern, and anything you need, let us know. If you need Hardy to drive down in a because you're driving to Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, we are.
All right. Well,
How long
that's
a trip is that?
It's like 15 hours.
now. Is it a van? Like all of you guys driving?
We got 3 minivans going
Okay.
down. Yeah.
and it's co-ed.
It's cool. That's honestly like how we're
No,
so
no.
successful.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not. The reason I was saying it was co-ed is that you're going to be traveling with girls. Are there any like inter-team relationships?
They are.
Yeah, because I would imagine that in close quarters like that, and if you're traveling, now what percentage of the team is girls? Would you say?
I would say probably like 25%.
Okay.
When you
That's
put
still pretty good.
when you're like on the pole when you're 7 on the line, Fred, is how you start. When
I
get
thought you were
7 on
talking about the
line,
girls, and I would say, don't talk to them like that.
Do you have to
on
have
the
at
pole.
least 2 women out there or 3 women out there?
It'll change from time to time, but there are some teams like Skidmore loves to put all the girls out there. They'll put like 4, and that's how they're so successful.
Well, some of the best
Is
players.
it like a distraction? Did they bring them out there, and it's like, ooh la la, and then you can't think?
I mean,
Like Bugs Bunny when he dressed like a woman and get Yosemite Sam all crazed?
in like with like no joking around, if you ever played like any like co-ed sports, it's like if you get like a high level woman athlete out there, it's a distraction because you think you might have an easy mark or like an easy assignment to guard, and she's liable to have blazing speed and be the best
Yeah,
player on
I
the
would
team.
never think that. I would never fall for that because I know women are just as good as men, if not better. All right, very quick, and then we do have to stop this. Thomas, go ahead.
Hi, guys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I've been playing the sport of Ultimate for 10 years. I played at college, and I had to correct. It is now called a Frisbee. The USA is the Ultimate Frisbee Association. So Frisbee is the correct term.
Oh, Hardy,
Just put
Grandpa.
Hardy in your place.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Hello. Points for Reese.
Yeah,
Reese,
Reese
you did
is
a
right
great
about all of
job.
that. Nice
The
job,
youth has
Reese.
come
Well
in.
done.
All right, there you
That's it,
go.
right there.
That's why you
Day.
take phone
Very
calls. That's
good.
why you take phone calls. All right, Reese, thank you.
I mean, he's not wrong. The Boston Glory, I believe, is part of the UFA, the Ultimate Frisbee Association. But the fact
it's
is,
also a confusing name because you think it's something else.
you don't play. You don't play with a frisbee. You
The
play
Boston
with
Glory, is at a rough stop in Canton.
No.
All right.
No.
All
How
right.
dare
Very
you.
good. Thank you, Reese. It's a lot of fun. Everyone loves Ultimate Frisbee. By that, I mean you two. All right. Very good. That'll do it.
It's the ultimate.
Reese, thank you so much for all your help. Mike Reese, who I'm sure has thrown the disc around.
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be tall. He is going to be on. He'll give us his impressions of what's happened so far in free agency in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5.
in sports.
And I have had many offers to become an insider.
Ronnie Stanley, I think, as long as Baltimore was going to put something compelling in front of him, was going to stay. Washington and New England were both over 24. The Patriots made a big offer to Dan Moore, too. They made a big offer to Chris Godwin, more than he wound up getting in Tampa. So they were trying.
Oh, good to talk to you.
Good morning, Fred, Hardy, John. How we doing today?
We are doing very well, and it's exciting because the NFL every month gives you a little something to chew on and talk about, and that is the legal tampering period that has gone on, and now you just heard Breer talking about it. You know, going into free agency, the big concern with the fans was offensive line, the receiver position. You know, the offense struggled so badly last year, and now New England seems to greatly have improved the defense, but the offense is still lagging behind a little bit. First of all, what did you make of the defensive signings that the Patriots made?
So, first of all, I do throw the disc around a little bit.
Nice.
So just to follow up, I think that's probably where we should start, right, Fred?
Yeah, I mean, if you do, did you ever play Ultimate?
That's what I was saying. I mean, like you said, it's not a height discriminate sport, right? And some quickness in there. I don't think I could hang though out in the intramural space.
I don't think we're going to be sending you deep. You're going to be a handler, Reese, but that's okay. Yeah. You're still welcome. Yes. You're still welcome.
Yeah. They'll let anyone. I mean, really, it's not about that. It's not about being the best.
He's not going to be in the cut playing zone. I mean, obviously, I make jokes that everybody knows.
I love it. Fred, my thought on the free agency is they had 5 major needs entering free agency: offensive line, defensive line / pass rusher, wide receiver, number 2 cornerback, and I'd put off the line linebacker, and they filled 3 of the 5 top needs. And so I like the defensive signings a lot. And like everyone else, the concern remains, what are you doing on the offensive line? They have not done enough with just Morgan Moses. And what are you doing at receiver? They haven't done enough with just Mac Hollins.
Okay, so Milton Williams is the highest paid Patriot ever. He was very effective in Philadelphia. He's young. He's 25. There's a lot of positives about him. But he's never played 50% of the snaps in Philadelphia. He's going to be asked to do that a lot more than that here, obviously, given, what Philadelphia had on their defensive line and their ability to sub out to switch. What are you hearing about Milton Williams and his ability to stay on the field that long?
Well, so the first part, Fred, is I'll be curious to see how long they want him to stay on the field. I mean, ideally, you pay someone that much money, you assume you'd want him to stay on the field more. But if that means he's going to be less effective, maybe they're okay with him being on the field instead of, call it 45% of the time, maybe it's 60% of the time. Because what you're paying him for is to get after the quarterback, to play on the other side of the line of scrimmage. So maybe, you might not want to play him 90% of the time, and that might be okay. So I think, I think I'm okay with that. We'll see where.
Did they have the depth to do that?
Not yet, but they got to keep building it. That was the thing. Philly had it. That's part of what made Milton Williams great. So we'll see what number they end up settling at, but. That's like free agency, right, guys? I mean, every single player, even if they signed Ronnie Stanley, who would have been fantastic for them, the left tackle, would be talking about his injury history. Even if they signed Chris Godwin, who would have been fantastic for them, would be talking about his injury history. So all these guys, there's always some level of risk. And that's the risk with Milton Williams is he's never really been a full-time player.
Okay, Mike, I feel like you set me up a little bit in the hallway yesterday when I saw you. I was leaving. You were coming in to do Zolak and Bertrand, and you asked me, like, as I believe you probably ask most people you encounter in life, what do you think of free agency so far? And this is what you live, eat, and breathe. And I gave you what I feel you probably ended up looking down upon as a very stock answer, because I mentioned the 2 things you started with, the offensive line and the wide receiver. But I can't help but think that any discussion of and even applauding what they've done defensively is not is not seeing the obvious or at least addressing the obvious. If you don't do something for Drake May in this second year, you're going down a very dangerous road. And those two things are protection and targets. And it's early on in the process, but I hesitate to give them like a lot of credit for what they've done so far and give them, props for addressing needs when the two biggest needs are relating to the offense and developing this quarterback, because right now he's really the best thing or the only good thing that you've got.
So Hardy, I think I agree with what you said. I'm going to use a Mike Vrabel analogy that he said at the Combine, and I want you guys to push back on me on this because it's just the way I feel. It doesn't mean that it's right. I think this was like the car shopping that Vrabel talked about. If there's one car on the lot, you might have to overpay for it, but there might just be one car. And if the car ends up not being available to you to buy, there's not much you can do. And so my point is, once Ronnie Stanley went back to Baltimore, Hardy, there wasn't a left tackle. Like if they signed Dan Moore, who we heard Albert Breer mention that they had a big offer to, I would have come on this morning and said, that's great that they have someone to play left tackle. I'm not sure they've actually solidified that spot. I watched 3 games of his last year to try to get more familiar with his style of play. And to me, it's not that much different than Vidarian Lowe. So I think the quality of left tackle that was available after Ronnie Stanley was significantly low. Same with receiver with Chris Godwin. It's not just the receiver, it's the fit in your program, your culture. Once he went back to Tampa, there wasn't a real decisive answer to me that could fill the need. So you got to try to manufacture it in a different way.
Okay, so how do you do that? Look, you watched Dan Moore's games. I haven't. I assume Dan Moore was a left tackle that played left tackle well. You're telling me he wasn't any better than Vidarian Lowe. I'll trust your words on that. But now what are the Patriots left with? Does it kind of force them into taking Will Campbell at number 4, which I don't think is going to work out well for him or them?
So I still think there's options, John. And honestly, and in respect to Dan Moore, he's got 66 career starts, which is a lot more than Vidarian Lowe. I would just say talk to people in Pittsburgh too, and they're fine with him leaving. So I think that's the point. It's that was the best option in free agency, and I don't think it was decisive. So what possibly is next? Cam Robinson is still out there. He's started a lot of games in the league. John, if they sign him, and I don't know how they feel about him, but if they sign him, I think that would be a pretty strong move for them. So there's an option there. You can wait to see if something else materializes. We saw a trade with Laramie Tunsil, where he went from Houston to Washington. I think that surprised a lot of people that he would be available. I actually don't think he would have been a great fit for the Patriots, but maybe something like that comes up in the future that you're not anticipating, so you want to leave yourself some flexibility. I don't think it locks you into a need in the draft with Will Campbell. I still think you have options before you get to the point where you're that stuck, and you have to do that in the draft.
Would you give up assets, like future assets, to get a veteran, meaning like late 20s, early 30s lineman right now?
Yeah, I mean, the right one, I would, Fred. I think the hard part is like, who would that be? But
I'll give you an example. Like that Tunsil trade, Tunsil's great, but he's seen more games than he's going to see. And you had to give up, a little bit to get him. You bring in Tunsil in here, and sure, you got your left tackle, and he's great and a Hall of Famer. But is it worth giving up, that draft capital to bring in a guy who might not be around when the team is really competing?
I wouldn't have done it for Tunsil. A lot of penalties last year, Fred, and that line struggled. And culturally, that's the hard part. Like Mike Vrabel's instilling a new culture. Like, how do you know if a player like that would fit, right? So that's but if it was a different left tackle, similar stage of his career as Tunsil, who fit, I would say yes. I would give up assets for that.
So when do you think? Okay, so that means you think that they could win sooner than later.
I feel like 7 to 9 is within range this year.
Sure, and that would be great because then you're competing for a playoff spot. I mean, 9 wins could get you in the playoffs for
Yeah.
And you think that so if you win 7 to 9 games this year, then the idea would be next year you're really competing for like a title.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, I like Will Campbell, and whether it's tackle or guard, I don't think they just need left tackle. So to me, the best case scenario right now as we talk, and this can always change, Cam Robinson is your left tackle. You can sign him for a 1-year deal maybe. His market, we haven't heard much of that. I have no idea where it stands, but if you put him in there, he started a lot of games for Jaguars, started for the Vikings last year, which was a playoff team when they traded for him. You could solidify the spot with him, draft Will Campbell, even play him at guard, see how it looks at tackle. Maybe he can become that. Now, all of a sudden, you got some pieces, to build around. To me, that's the best case scenario. And then maybe if that doesn't work, you see what else you can manufacture.
So you would take a guard. You would be willing to take a guard at 4.
It stinks, Fred, but in this year, this type of draft, I would, because if I'm not taking the guard, like, who am I taking? I mean, I'm assuming Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter aren't part of the conversation.
Sure.
If they're available, I'm taking them regardless.
Right.
But if not, like Will Campbell, to me, even if he's a guard, why is that not an important position? I want to protect Drake May, and pressure up the middle is like that. That's not. I mean, that's the pressure Tom Brady actually hated more than anything. So I think I would, Fred. It stinks that this is the type of draft that you'd settle for that, but I think that's sort of part of what this draft is this year.
Real quick, Mike, there are 2 guys that have injury problems or otherwise. Their status is up in the air. What do you know about David Andrews and Christian Barmore?
So, well, let's start with Christian Barmore. Training in Tampa, right, John? We heard this at the Combine. Mm-hmm. The reports are that the training is going well, but there's still an unknown as to what that's going to look like going forward. Because what he's dealing with is not like a broken bone, right? That you can project the healing. So you have to prepare for multiple scenarios. And with David Andrews, my understanding is he's just been continuing to rehab the shoulder injury. And that's very much a serious injury that at this stage in his career, there's no guarantees of what that's going to look like going forward.
And to answer your question, Mike, I would just say, with the Will Campbell thing, I get it. The offensive line, you got to have all the holes filled. The difference being the pressure you're going to get from the guard position is less likely to get your quarterback killed as opposed to the left tackle. It's really about protecting Drake May at this point, and not a lot else.
So, Mike, I'm hearing yesterday you hinted a little bit about Stephon Diggs perhaps coming to the Patriots.
And honestly, Fred, on that one, that was my own opinion of, like, I just love him as a player. And, like, when we're talking about the idea of a number 1 receiver, now, again, I can't sit here and say, like, culturally with Mike Vrabel, what he's trying to do. I don't know if that would fit culturally, but I don't know about you guys. But from having watched him play over the years, I just love his style of play. So that was just more my personal opinion, Fred, not, like, hinting at anything. But when we talk about how can they improve receiver, who's available out there, Cooper Kupp's a nice player. I actually think he would fit well here culturally, but I'm thinking of an alpha number 1 guy, and there's not many out there. And if Diggs is healthy, I just love his style of play.
All right. Well, there you go. And you think culturally he'll fit in?
I don't know, Fred. That's part information I don't know. Because when he was in Minnesota, they traded him to Buffalo, and part of the reason was, why did they do that? Why did Buffalo trade him to Houston? So I don't know if that would be a fit. But if they were asking me, pure talent-wise, what would you do? He'd be at the top of my list.
All right. Well, Mike, good job with all of this. Continue to work the phones and all those things that you guys do. We appreciate the time.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. Always great being on with you.
Thanks, Mike.
And get that disc back out. You're never too old to start again,
That's right.
All right. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. When we come back, let's listen to a singer freak out. We will have that for you. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines presented.
pivoted to country music because that is the easiest way to make money. You can look at Machine Gun Kelly. You can look at Post Malone, Kid Rock. If you're a white artist in a genre that you feel is failing, then you will move into the country space because all you really have to be is white. And then you can rap and everything else, but it's under the guise of being country, so racist will listen to it and consume it. So Aaron Lewis, is this him doing country, gentlemen?
Yes, he's doing solo work. It's a mix of the country songs he's written and the and acoustic songs that he versions of songs he played with Sting.
So he's still going to do Outside. He's still going to do.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. He'll perform those, but then he's got his whole country catalog now.
Yeah. So what I do is I want to see a guy with an acoustic guitar because that's the best way to see him. And so this is Aaron Lewis. It doesn't matter really where he's performing. I'd imagine it's at some stadium, maybe Wembley Stadium, the something like that. But Aaron Lewis is performing, and he loses it a little bit. You can tell the crowd's huge by the individual voices that are getting picked up by the microphone.
The individual conversations you can hear.
Yeah, you can hear two guys there. One guy's buying speed. You can hear that very clearly.
Listen, I'm good. I don't have to do this.
Is that Aaron Lewis?
Oh yes.
This doesn't require a microphone.
Oh no.
Him on stage.
So just to set it up a little bit more, this is his closing song, and he's decided to step in front of the microphone to give the audience of 13 a more intimate experience.
Right. Yeah, and also not have to pay the electricity on the microphone. I mean, that's coming out of the kitty, The quicker you can turn off that electricity, the quicker that you can. I mean, that's all profit. That's all money in pocket at that point.
Yeah, the guy behind the board has been instructed anytime he steps away from the mic, kill power.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't just fade it down. Turn it off.
Yeah, because, that's at least another dime in his pocket.
Good. I don't have to do this.
If you don't shut the up, you can't even hear the guitar. So shut up. I've got 3 more minutes. 3. Can you please, for once, through the whole evening, you guys have talked all night. Shut up or I'm done.
Usually that's what performers want is complete silence. Especially for a country or rock performer, I've never been to Country Fest, but I've heard you could hear a pin drop. That when Darius Rucker gets on stage, he commands the audience and they just sit in silence, gawking. What show? Who wants no one to there to be silence while you're performing? Isn't that the opposite of what you want? You want everyone making a lot of noise. If you can hear a conversation, dude. Stop playing music.
To answer your question, who would want this? A moron would want this. That's it.
Yeah, you hate them.
When you're trying to do an introspective song and you've only performed it 7,000 or 8,000 times over the past 25 years, you'd like a little respect from the audience because they've probably only heard it 700 or 800 times. So, they should be quiet and listen to you perform.
And if you have 3 minutes left, just perform it and get out of there. I mean, how many times have you seen a comedian just like the famous Bill Burr thing in Philadelphia? He's like, all right, and he just starts timing it 7 minutes.
That's
and
right.
He just
5 minutes left.
He's like, I mean, we've all been in situations where you're just like, okay, I'll make my money. Like, just stand there, sit there for 3 minutes if that's what's required to get you paid. But if you can hear conversations and they're bothering you, maybe it's time to take a break from the road and let the audience get a little hungrier for your performances because this might as well be a Bennigan's or whatever, a Friendly's where he's the manager's nephew playing in front of the audience, in front of a crowded restaurant.
It's so ironic that this
Oh, he's going to play ironic. Maybe that will get the crowd on his side.
song is a thank you. And I can't get you to shut the up to hear it. Thank you to the people in my life for putting up with me.
Well,
it's a little on the nose, Aaron.
It is a little on the nose. Why does everyone have to hear this? Why are you so enamored with them listening to this? So a bar full of stupid drunks they're gonna take this message home. Thank you for all the people for putting up with you. They had to hear that. You're so self-important. That needed to be here.
Too. What a way to really end on a high note.
Hey, everyone that's in their cars right now, could you shut up and listen to us? It's too much conversation in that car of yours. In fact, I don't think you're paying attention enough. Pull over. All you driving with us on in the car, could you just pull over? Yeah, I mean, you're too distracted with the road.
You'll be able to see him April 3rd at the Lowell Memorial Auditorium, or you can catch him the week afterward at Foxwoods. I don't know that he's playing the big room at Foxwoods.
No, he'll be playing the Baccarat room at Foxwoods.
He'll be standing next to the bar.
Yeah, yes. Aaron
He'll be
will be
busking
playing
outside
for
Foxwoods.
free beers. Oh my God, this guitar too. Tang, tang.
Playing a very complicated chord voicing.
Yeah,
I mean, to sound very deep and give a lot of tension.
Win the crowd over. It's your last song. And maybe it's a hint that it's your last song and they're all so disinterested that they don't care. Maybe that should be like you haven't won them over. You failed as a performer. Get off. Chalk it up to a bad crowd.
On the stage as he storms off.
They weren't even being loud.
No.
I mean, listen, man. You've been instained and you've touched the sun. You got to, and you're falling back into earth. I mean, he's an introspective singer-songwriter now. I mean, he's the Garfunkel of our generation.
He's a very emotional man. He's a feeler.
Aaron Lewis and the State Liners. It's the American as It Gets tour.
Mm.
And the crowd is drunk in ornery. Yeah, that's surprising.
Shocking.
That's your demographic, dude.
The bored out of your gourd tour.
Yeah, you're not Joan Baez, all right? Like yeah, you're going like you're waving an American flag around. What do you want them to act like? You got a bunch of dumb hicks.
Shut up, Aaron. I can't hear my friends speaking over the sound of your songs tour. Trying to have a conversation over here. The guy with the guitar on stage, could you shush?
I wonder how many Alabama football replays are going on the TVs behind the crowd. That sounds like a place with televisions that are on while he's performing. All right, we'll be back. Our friend Chris Forsberg will join us.
every Patriots game.
Look into the end zone, try to keep the play alive. Falling down, he throws to the end zone. It's got it! Touchdown!
WBZFM at HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Bruins were down 2-0 with 12 minutes left, and they still won in regulation.
It back to Zadorov, just kept it in. Pasternak now pivots away from Forsling. He's got one in front, score! Zaka! And the Bruins have the lead!
That is Ryan Johnston here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Pavel Zacha's goal with 3:17 left snapped a 2-2 tie and handed the Bruins a 3-2 home win over Florida at TD Garden. David Pasternak assisted on the game winner and added his 33rd goal of the season as well. The Bruins are in Ottawa tomorrow night. Celtics play Oklahoma City this evening at TD Garden. Granny and Max have the pregame at 7 and the tip-off at 7:30 here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Jaylen Brown has been listed as probable. Jason Tatum is listed as questionable. And Kristaps Porzingis and his mystery illness are doubtful. Former Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett has signed with the Arizona Cardinals. Buffalo has agreed to terms with free agent pass rusher Joey Bosa. Baltimore has re-signed or signed wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, and quarterback Daniel Jones has agreed to terms with Indianapolis. Red Sox pitchers issued a total of 16 walks yesterday. They lost to Philadelphia 18-8 in Fort Myers. They play Minnesota tonight. Also, Trevor Story, a late scratch yesterday with upper back tightness. Lucas Giolito left his spring debut after just one inning with hamstring tightness. And Tiger Woods announced yesterday he ruptured an Achilles tendon. This is while ramping up his training and workouts. He underwent surgery and expects a full recovery, but is out indefinitely. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the 99 Restaurant. Celebrate St. Patrick's Day this Sunday and Monday at the Nines. Enjoy the traditional corned beef and cabbage dinner with a Lucky Horseshoe Ale. You gotta love the Nines. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Boston plays here.
Pritchard, half court, it's in the air. He got it! He did it again!
98.5 The Sports Hub. Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Joe, what is it meant to see?
I'm not sure how to describe it, but I think I'm with Hardy here. Like he was. I think he's just so locked in. Like most people at the barbershop are.
His eyes do weird stuff. I mean, are we ignoring
You got a lazy brain.
I don't know.
You're gonna pick on a guy. I've never noticed his
Never
lazy.
noticed it either.
I'm not protecting him.
And you're
because he ordered food. I've never noticed anything
All
off
the
about his
times
eyes.
I've interviewed him, Fred, I haven't noticed.
Well, maybe he wasn't doing the look. We have to find a video of him getting his head shaved yesterday, and you guys tell me what you see. Maybe it's me.
I saw the clip too, Fred, in the hallway earlier this morning. I didn't
weird eyes.
You opened up the segment. It's like, we're going to talk about what's going on with Joe Mazzulla's eye.
Yeah, we just spent 5 minutes talking about Joe Mazzulla's eye.
I think if the pushback wasn't so heavy, we would have moved on. I didn't want to.
You've got the preeminent basketball expert in maybe all of North America sitting at 8 feet away from you, and instead of getting into the X's and O's and the nitty-gritty of the game, the beautiful game that is Boston Celtics basketball, you want to talk about the head coach's eye and whether or not it was, it suffered an injury.
Here's what I'm doing. The kid's nervous. Forsberg's nervous. He's on a big time radio show.
This kid would make coffee nervous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so what I'm doing is
he's a real jitterbug.
So what I do is I go Forsberg. I go.
Watch this.
I'll take the first 5 minutes. I'll give you something to push back on me on. It's a dance.
Right.
It's a beautiful ballet, and we're swinging.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
I'm going to give you something that when you walk into the garden tonight, everyone's going to be like, why are you talking about Joe's eyes?
yeah, that's right. What if Joe just says to you like, "Hey, you were on those sons of bitches shows, and they were talking about my eye. You know I don't like that." All right. Well, tonight's a great game.
It is.
Tonight is the two best teams in basketball, I would argue. I mean, you could say Cleveland has a better record, but let's be honest. Celtics are a better team than Cleveland. The Thunder is in town. If this was the NBA final, this would be fantastic. Yeah. I mean, you have a team completely loaded that has been on fire all season, that has the MVP or the runner-up MVP on it. Let's go start there for real quick. Do you think Shai Gilgeous or do you think Jokic?
It's so hard because what Jokic is doing is so ridiculous. And
he's averaging a triple-double at the moment.
I mean, the 30-20
Thanks,
point.
John.
The other night, he had a triple-double in the third quarter, and then he had a second triple-double right after it. In the same game.
Yeah. It's crazy. Now, I saw him play. I'm so fascinated by him and Doncic are the two players that I'm fascinated in because they're white. No, is the two players that I'm fascinated in because they have such unconventional games. When you see Jokic play, he's obviously like athletic, but he's so it's his strength, right? It's his ability to move people, and then he's got this uncanny passing ability and like touch around the rim.
The closest thing to Bird, and I know that upsets people when you say it, but just the instincts, the ability to play at that size, it's absurd. And so what's undeniable too, though, is it comes down to it's a little bit of narrative driven, and if the Thunder are the best team in the West and they're ahead of Denver, it's going to be tough for some voters to say that, give Jokic another one, which is unfortunate because he's been really good. It take nothing away from SGA. Like watching him play is a lot of fun too. He just drives and wears you down and gets to the free throw line, and he's got really good teammates. So, but the thing is, we only get to see it twice a year. So part of what I want to see tonight is how the Celtics defend him. How would you go up against him in a 7-game series? But I think if you were being honest, like who would you least rather see in a playoff series, like individually? Like no one wants to see Jokic because he's just so damn good.
Yeah, it's interesting, like how much of the fun to watch factors in when it comes to MVP voting and stuff like that. I don't know, but it's got to play some part in it,
right? And SGA is fun again, like. In a vacuum, he's so relentless with the way that he drives and the confidence and the way that he can like finish. You also the arc where 5 years ago he was wasting away in with the Clippers, and you're like, this guy's never going to be even an all-star. Now all of a sudden he's one of the best players in the NBA. I do think if you could put everything in a vacuum, you didn't know that Jokic had won all these other MVPs and the voter fatigue kind of thing. I think it would be hard to deny what he's doing based on the stat line, and yet SGA is making it a contest.
Okay, so when you watch the Thunder, now this is a regular season game in March. This is a game where this is a part of the season where Tatum won't play in the game, Brown won't play in the game, and so on and so forth. In your opinion, does this mean the Laker game meant something to the Celtics?
Oh yeah,
yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I mean, they played 45. Tatum played 45 minutes. It was like I'll be curious. Tatum took the other night off. I think the understanding was, hey, we're going to play you like crazy in that Laker game. Now we're going to come back and play you like crazy again in this one. If you look at the schedule, this is the last game they play against like a really good team. There's the Knicks in April, but that's a game where who knows if you even trot anybody out. There'll be that could be the 2-3 matchup. You start hiding stuff. But this feels like the last chance to kind of really ramp it up. And I think it's going to have a legitimate playoff vibe to it. I think the Celtics are frustrated that they didn't play better in the second half down there when the first half was one of their best first halves of the year. And if you have Porzingis, we'll see what happens with Porzingis tonight. It's hard for me. I hope he's out there because I think it just adds to everything if they have their full group healthy out there.
What's the deal with Porzingis? I mean, he posted, obviously, that there's some mystery illness they haven't been able to pin down, and he's been doubtful for about a week. Mm-hmm. He thought he was going to come back last week and didn't, so do you know anything different?
All I can say is, he walked in that night, and I think he had said something on social media even before he posted this thing where I think he said on Instagram that he was going to play against the Lakers. And so he struts in that suit, which usually means, hey, I'm feeling it. I'm ready to go. He went through his warm-up, and I watched the warm-up. He went for 15 minutes. He just didn't have his normal zest, like the normal happy-go-lucky Kristaps. And I wonder if this illness has truly just got him fatigued and just not feeling himself. And the Lakers were shorthanded at the big man spot, so maybe it made it easier to ramp him down. But the fact that he had to come out and kind of acknowledge it suggests that this is something that really has been wearing on him. I keep saying I don't think it's anything more nefarious than that. I think people started to say, "Oh, is it a foot injury? Is it is there something else that's cropping up that they're just not telling us and just calling it this illness?" I do think it's just whatever. He doesn't look himself. He didn't look at himself in that one game he played. All that being said, I know he's antsy, and I really hope he's out there tonight because if you do see this team in the finals, he will be key to beating them.
Well, we talked about it earlier in the season how they were able to play so well last year without him, and he was back for a game in the playoffs, but beyond that they didn't need him. I don't think anybody is suffering under the delusion that they can do that again this year without Porzingis with the talent that you would face, not just in the West but Eastern Conference alone, getting out of the East is going to require Porzingis.
It just feels big men are so important this year because of the way that all these teams play, from Cleveland and with Mobley and Allen to the Knicks even, like if Mitchell Robinson's healthy. Like there's going to be size and physicality that you're going to have to go up against, and Kristaps could be key to getting you to play at a high level. It's true. It's like it's weird to say because they've been so good without him. You know, whether it's the regular season games he's missed or last year during the playoffs, and yet I feel the same way, and I can't explain it. It just feels like you're going to need all your pieces this year because the path feels like it's going to be more daunting. And maybe I don't know. And I say that, and I slander the East all the time, and I say you really got to get through one team, and it's just Cleveland. But even getting through Cleveland, I think you need them, and so they got to figure that out. Keep them upright.
Yeah, I wouldn't be overly concerned even about Cleveland. I just
They literally have been the most consistent team in. I'm blown away by their ability.
consistency has been unbelievable. The regular season has been unbelievable. I just think that when you get into a 7-game playoff series, there's no way they can beat the Celtics.
I feel that way against most teams, but
Yeah.
I do think that will be a really good match. Like that Eastern Conference Finals has me excited.
Well, yeah, it will be fun. I mean, that's the thing is that unlike last year. Right. When they play Cleveland, and look, if they play the Knicks, it would be fine. Like, there's like a lot of things. Maybe it won't be a great series, but when Boston plays the Knicks,
I
the
think we're all
buzz
hopeful
around
because
it,
we just want that Boston New York thing back,
right? Because
you know?
the buzz around it, there's not. Look, man, when there's really the Yankees and the Knicks, when they are involved in something in the postseason, it is all anyone talks about because everyone in national media just about is a Knicks or a Yankees fan. You know, Stephen A. Smith, Mad Dog. You know, he's not a Yankee fan, but Mad Dog. Like, just like these guys, like just every New York guy is a Knicks fan.
And
so it becomes this big, bright thing. Like when, you know, they'll be broadcasting from, like, you know what I'm saying? It's a little insufferable. And then it makes you want Boston to win even more. But so if it's Boston, New York, if this ends up happening, and then it's Boston, Cleveland, that's so much more fun than last year.
100%. And no disrespect, because I thought the Pacers were their hardest out, but like it will be more fun when the bigger markets are in the same way. I kind of like. I'm perfectly fine if it ends up being Boston OKC. Like Boston Lakers just has a little different juice than anything else out there. And watching all the historical docs now and going back, like I kind of want that.
I can't. We can't have that. John, hold your question, please, because we will break.
I thought the next break was Tiger Woods. No, Fred, I was going to give you the segment.
He's got a bit of a wonky eye. Do you want to talk Tiger?
We forgot to talk about Tiger today. This would be a perfect opportunity.
Poor Tiger. His Achilles is ruptured, and he's had surgery.
Don't spoil it.
I heard a guy yesterday on the radio, not here, going like, and I just can't. He's like, I can't believe it. The luck this guy has. Like an athlete getting hurt. He's 49. He's my age. All right, calm down. Well, you're saying he's not as good anymore? Yeah, he's going to turn 50. He's my age.
Still hurt. That news came across yesterday. I was like, oh.
Why?
You're no fan of the game. Hardy don't care. Hardy get out there.
Why were you so broken up?
Where's Tom Pike?
I guess you're gonna have to tune. You're gonna have to tune into 98.5 The Golf.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, I already said I was gonna break. Jesus, John. Talking Green with Chris Forsberg is presented by Bentley University. I missed you on purpose. Bentley University, where
he's gonna start making fun of your undescended testicle now. He's just gonna.
Ooh, do you have one?
No.
There's money in that.
Sorry.
Oh, never mind. I got to tell you something.
All right.
Thank you, Ben.
Can I do this?
You are going to love it.
All right, fantastic.
Oh, boy.
Talking Green with Chris Forsberg is presented by Bentley University, where good business begins and leaders come to learn. We'll be right back.
thoughts.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub.
Feel good. It's in there for like an hour and a half, and feel good, feel confident in them. So let's hope all that is behind us now. So, but yeah, feel good.
We're Toucher and Hardy. We are, I don't have to say that right now. Chris Forsberg's in here from NBC Sports Boston, our good friend. Thank you for coming in this morning. It's going to be a late night for you. Are you here in the city all day now?
I'm going to go home because I have nothing else to do.
Well, that was nice of you to come
Yeah,
in.
well, no, I miss you guys.
And you played golf yesterday.
I did play golf yesterday. It was amazing. My home course, Raceway, back in Thompson, Connecticut, opened up. So got to get out there. It was 60 degrees, had shorts on. Excited to get back out there soon.
You had shorts on.
I know. It was in the moment, it felt like the right decision, and then it was a little windy.
Yeah.
But the legs aren't going to tan themselves, so you need to.
You look
flash a little.
You go to Myrtle Beach enough where you can get that done.
That's fair too.
Yeah.
But no, it's just good to be outside. Hardy, right? Like, a day is better when there's a golf course involved.
Truer words never spoken, my friend.
What kind of dump course opens their greens right now? I mean, they got to still be protected.
You would think so. Where we have our station tournament, Brook Meadow. I played there yesterday and the day before, and I couldn't believe they were open. But the greens have not been cut yet. They haven't done a cut, so the greens are protected just by the length of the grass. And
Mother Nature has protected them.
Yeah, Mother Nature knows a lot more than you give her credit for.
Plus, once the weather gets above 60, good luck telling the membership that they cannot be out there.
Our course isn't open.
Well, maybe you need to think about where you're a member.
Like Thorny Lee, that you can't go.
I know him. He's prickly.
You can't go.
Hey.
As long as there isn't snow, you can go play that. I think their members can play all winter long. Now they have temporary greens, but the rest of the course, like, they have nice fairways and tee boxes. Like, yeah, you can go play. It's just grass.
Because
It'll
even
be
in
fine.
Tennessee, where my parents live, you can play year round, obviously, but the grass is all like yellowy and mangy. Like it's because it turns in the winter, like in the whatever kind of grass that is.
It goes semi-dormant.
It goes dormant.
Yeah,
and not semi-dormant. It goes dormant. Kimosabe.
Are you really upset about Tigers?
I am.
Why?
Because
I'm a big fan of Tiger, and it's one of the maybe the only moment.
Is this going to be our first fight?
In my adult life, it could be. I teared up at a sporting event was when he won the Masters in 19, right?
Yes.
Like I could end up
literally like full on tears.
No. I teared up, but frickin' CBS juxtaposing him running into his dad's arms after he won his first Masters in 97, and then they cut right to
his dad in a trailer having sex with someone other than his wife.
No, that was in the pre-roll before the final round. It was a think
He did
piece.
this last week too.
Yeah.
He did the exact same thing last week.
It is my favorite, and people always say, like, "What do you do in that situation?" I'm like, "What am I supposed to do?"
Right to a wall.
No, and then
that's
true.
So they cut to the Tiger walking off the course and his kids running into his, and that's what got me. Okay,
It always does.
And it was Tiger winning, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like a moment. But as soon as he flipped his Genesis 19 times a couple of weeks later, and it made his leg look like it had been through a meat grinder. I said, well, that's it. There's no more. And sure enough, there's no more.
We just got done talking about the NBA is better when Celtics Lakers or Celtics Knicks or whatever. The Masters is better regardless of what ability level he's at if Tiger is walking Augusta. Like I will You're lying to yourself.
No, I disagreed. To see him go out there and go and shoot 2 over
A
on
man whose
Thursday
leg has been
and-
shattered into a million pieces is trying to navigate the hills of Augusta.
Look, football was better when Tom Brady was playing, but if Tom Brady were to go out there tomorrow, you wouldn't be expecting anything. It's like
you'd
okay,
watch.
so- I don't know that. I don't expect anything out of it.
I
I
explaining yourself. If Tom Brady said tomorrow he's going to be the starting QB for the Raiders, you guys wouldn't watch.
Maybe once.
Okay, maybe once, but Tiger's done it now for it's been 4 years.
No,
it's been 4 years of
new
his
best friend status.
No, I would watch. Of course, I would. I wanna see that.
Tiger hasn't sniffed a real win since then.
No, but you always hold out hope, and I just kind of I never expect him to get back to the level he was at, but whether it's when he is out there, I don't know. Maybe I'm a super geek for nostalgia right now, and I just like seeing him. It's the same way when The Undertaker comes out on WWE. I'm like, yes, here we go.
Okay, so now we're not only is this our first fight, we're not even friends anymore.
Wow.
That's just dumb.
Man, good luck
Word up.
Good luck on your golf club solo show.
Yeah, and you're always you're always welcome on the
I still
wrestling.
need you.
I'm here.
I need you to do that.
I'm never leaving.
Only a month until the Sports Hub Golf Club returns.
We've already been talking about it.
Yeah, I heard.
People reaching out for guest spots. I'm like, man, I don't know. That's above my pay grade.
Are you doing live?
They're reaching out to you?
Yeah.
Oh, who?
I can't name names right now.
Send them my way.
I will.
A competing show, perhaps?
No.
No, Hardy show? Someone's reaching you out to be on Hardy's show?
Yeah.
Do you have a producer now?
What, for the Sports Hub Golf Club? No.
It's me.
Wait, huh? What's going on? Does anyone know what's going on?
Now I'm
So, me and Hardy have been talking about how I would like to be a part of the show. And so some other people got wind that I was interested and have reached out saying, how do I get on that show as well?
All right. Interesting. Hey.
Well,
right?
Now, listen, are they a assistant greenskeeper or lower?
Yes. The only way I can pay for my membership is to give people guest spots on 98.5.
Well,
so,
I'll tell you this, is that...
sure you don't work in radio?
98.5 The Golf Club.
Yes, thank you, 12. This is something that's been happening in broadcasting for years. This is known as the Forsberg effect.
Yes.
Where you attach his name to a project, and immediately people gravitate toward it.
It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I mean...
I can't wait to see your next book now that I've been on this program for a while.
It's a hard look at assistant greenkeepers in the off season. It's a lot of guys tying off and shooting. It's like, you know, the guy that made kids, like he had that photo book called like Tulsa.
Is it Harmony Korine?
No. Harmony Korine is the guy who directed it.
Oh,
Larry
yeah,
Clark.
yeah, oh, yes. thank
Larry
you.
Clark had that book of photos. It was called like it was called Tulsa. I think it was called Tulsa, and it's like a bunch of guys shooting speed and stuff. Yeah, it's like that's what Hardy's got. He's got a book of very, very raw photography.
Are any of the people who have reached out to you that are interested in being the show, are they people that I would be interested in having on the show?
I believe so.
Can we name one?
Can you name one?
Or
just give me what field.
So maybe people that have worked with Celtics players on their golf swing.
Oh God.
Is that a no? Should I tell that? Should I back channel that? Maybe we don't.
If it's the guy I'm
beggars
thinking
can't be choosers.
If it's the guy I'm thinking of, I already know that guy. I don't know why he just wouldn't reach out to me.
And he didn't even reach out to me directly. I think it was like a friend of a friend.
All
so
right.
yeah, we're multiple steps away. I'm just saying, I'm trying to work behind the scenes for you.
I appreciate it. This is going to be great.
All right. Well, look.
Fred, do you want to be on the Sports Hub Golf Club? Do you want to do the show with me one week?
Only if it's live. I don't want to be on
Wait, you want to
TV.
come in an extra day instead of actually just doing it after one of these
I'm a
programs?
perfectionist, and I gotta be in.
That makes sense.
When I do it live, it's from home on Sunday mornings. Maybe we could do a sleepover. Maybe you can just hang out on Saturday night.
Hey, you know what? You've been to Hardy's house already.
Stay at
you
the
know
house.
exactly where it is.
I'd sleep over at Hardy's house. Why not?
We'll get up and
We'll
do
bring
the show the next
snacks.
morning.
It'd be awesome.
All right, look. You guys are going to have fun. There's no question about it. I'm going to put a picture on my Instagram up of Hardy's new book on assistant greenskeepers. I'm doing so right now.
We can tell you become distracted.
Yeah, no, he's got a little
one track mind.
He's got a little Instagram gag he's working on right now. No.
All right. But you mentioned the Lakers. You saw the Lakers play, and then, LeBron's out. If they were smart, they'd rest him for a little bit. You mentioned the chance of the Lakers playing in the NBA Finals.
I was going to ask him,
oh, go ahead.
Did you fall out of love? I mean, I was all in on this Lakers resurgence.
Yeah.
Right up until that Celtics game, and I thought, against a really good team over the course of 7 games, I don't think so.
Yeah, Wallach was just mentioning that I was maybe a little too bullish on them. I go back to that when you have Luka, when you have LeBron, you always have a chance. And talent is king. And a team like the Thunder that hasn't necessarily been in those big moments could. I don't think they're going to lose to the Lakers, but I think they will be pushed by a team like the Lakers because of their veteran status. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, Wallach said it best. They don't have a center. I don't know if you get through that in the West without the right parts, but
yeah.
I do think it's a tougher challenge than what most teams will see in round 1 or round 2 in the East.
Yeah. I think that's safe to say. And in terms of health going forward, outside of Porzingis, is there anyone that concerns you? How much is Drew Holiday going to be an ongoing concern for the rest of the season?
So that mallet finger worried me in general, and then now he's doing the Dr. Evil pinky thing after he hits threes, and doesn't seem to be affecting him. So, the one guy I was kind of worried about was Hauser because he just hasn't been himself. They dealt with a bunch of back stuff this year and hasn't kind of caught a groove.
Didn't bother him the other
night?
No,
and the other night he was fantastic. And I think that's what you'll see over the last month of the season is they will pick spots to get guys sort of activated. And, he's not going to play a ton of minutes. Like, you're going to lean on your top 5 pretty heavy in the postseason. But invariably, you need Hauser and Pritchard and Cornette to be as good as they've been for large.
Pritchard's going to have a real role in the postseason.
Oh, yeah. I think all of them will. It's not to diminish what they do. It's just instead of getting 20-something minutes a night, you might be down at 18, and you just got to maximize those minutes.
18 would be,
that's still a lot of minutes.
That's a big contribution.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
But I feel good about where the team is at. You guys know I ride the roller coaster, but there's been every time it's mattered, they've been ready and they've met the moment, and it just comes down. It's it's Porzingis' health and off we go.
If Porzingis is healthy, and going back to what Fred said earlier, I'm not worried about Cleveland. I honestly, the last time those two teams played, Cleveland had to come back and win in the fourth quarter. Celtics didn't have Porzingis, didn't have Drew Holiday, and they still should have won the game. I think there's a real possibility the Celtics run that team in 5 or 6 games if they get to the Eastern Conference Finals.
I'm sorry. I can't look past a team that has won 15 in a row.
I think
twice.
This is a team that's trying to make a statement about how good they are. No Cleveland team after LeBron left has been any good, and this team is out to prove that they are good.
Well, now you're just doing historical, geographical stuff. That doesn't mean anything, Wallach.
All right.
It doesn't. You're better than that. Don't do that.
What has Northeast Ohio done to you?
Yeah, exactly. Cleveland. When have they ever won anything?
Other than sucking? Nothing. They haven't done anything.
All right. Well, look, I just put a picture up at Fred Toucher on Instagram.
You are glowing right now.
At Fred Toucher on Instagram, an exclusive photo. Forsberg mentioned Hardy's new book. It's a book of photography called Assistant Greenkeepers in January.
Well done.
Thank you. And it is a gritty black and white.
It's not well done. He took a photo of a computer screen.
Yeah, but it kind of adds this neat texture to it. I like.
Yeah, it's called art.
Yeah, it's artistic.
Yeah, it shows how removed we are from things. It's all digital age.
Where will this book be available?
Makes me want to pull a Diane Arbus book out of the.
Where is this available? MoMA. It's only for sale at MoMA. All right. Look, Chris Forsberg, NBC Sports Boston. I take pre and post tonight.
We got the game.
Oh, you got the game?
We got the game. Not only do we got the game, we're at the game. It's going to be super fun.
Is NBC Sports Boston Plus doing a cartoon version of it at the same time?
Drew has only so many voices. He's got to call the real game. They'd have to have me doing it. It would be a complete disaster. But please listen to Drew and Scal tonight instead of any other network.
Would it offend you, or would it just be on brand for you if they asked you to be the play-by-play guy for the cartoon version of the game?
I would I would just be blown away that they actually trusted me with a spot like that. So I would 100% take it. Plus, I would love to see myself. I'm already a cartoon, so I would love to see myself an actual cartoon version, little fake mustache drawn on there. Also, Fred, did you see JJ Redick's mustache?
Yeah, I hate him.
Pathetic, right?
Yeah, I just don't like him at all. That arrogance. this intellectual.
Well, I'm not saying
superiority.
like guys with mustaches in general give off that vibe, but
no,
I'm just saying.
usually guys with mustaches are the kind of guys you know are going to bang your wife. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Missoula. No. That's all right. That's all
The
lined
saving
up
by
perfectly.
shaving video is running again
Yeah.
on one of the monitors.
That's all.
over
Yeah.
here.
There's. What was I even thinking of? Well, I mean, I'm out of my mind. All right, Chris. Well, look forward to seeing you tonight. And what
Thank
a great
you.
game. What a fun game tonight as Oklahoma City comes into town. We'll be right back with an update on one of Hardy's friends by name of Daniel. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headline. This is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Daniel. That was the thing. He did not want to text Daniel. He, in all seriousness, did not want to. Then he reaches out to a guy he gave Daniel's information to, a listener that he had vetted. And the listener says, not only have I not used Daniel, Daniel never got back to me. Now here we are. Hardy, when we left him last, was in dire straits. He knew that he had screwed up by not texting Daniel. Like, he had gotten so dug in on not texting Daniel, he really screwed the whole thing up. He screwed the whole relationship up. And now, Hardy, where do we stand now?
I emailed, as you said, Fred, the guy who I'd given Daniel's number to, the man that I vetted carefully before I handed his number out. And he is a listener, but he seems like an upstanding individual. And, yeah, I was kind of disappointed and fearful that I had screwed things up when he told me, yeah, I figured he's tied up or whatever. I figured he was either tied up or didn't think it was legit or something, not sure. But I'll text him again because it turns out he's not going until tomorrow. I thought he was in Puerto Rico last week, but he's not going until tomorrow. That's when you suggested I do text Daniel and say, hey, I've given your number out once, and I just gave it out again to somebody, and I didn't hear back from Daniel while we were on the air yesterday. Two things happened.
Okay, well, go. You lay it on me. Lay it on me. Hello. Hi, Daniel. Are you?
Chris emailed me and said, I'm an idiot, Hardy. Had his cell wrong when I texted him.
Oh, thank God.
I have now connected with him, and he is hooking me up for rides, airport, hotel, etc. Thanks again. Appreciate it. I'll send Daniel your love, all caps, when I am there. Not only that, Fred, but I received a text back from Daniel yesterday. Once again, 2 hours is his new turnaround time.
Yeah, it's a little.
It doesn't need your cash, so you're at the back of the line. I understand.
After I texted him, hey, I gave your number out to a couple of people, this person, that person, giving you a heads up. He said, hey, comma, thank you, comma, appreciate, hand thank emoji, hand thank emoji.
All right. Put, hey, Kibo Sabe, what do you got for me?
Yeah, how about a little bird dog? A little something for the effort.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, of course I'm not.
Just be like, hey, I assume this solidifies our friendship.
No, I'm not doing that. You are
just go. Hey, great. I'm glad you got in the business. How you doing?
This is Paulie and Rocky 3. You're convinced that friends owe. Friends don't owe. I'm Rocky. I'm telling you how it is.
You do because you want to do.
You do because you want to do.
That's right.
And you're with your stinking X-Lax watch. Doesn't even keep time. Leave it down.
Do you think that, but he doesn't have to pay you in money or anything. He could pay you in attention, like friendship.
The only attention I want from Daniel is engaged conversation when I'm riding shotgun the next time I'm in Puerto Rico. And that's all I want.
Why don't you just text him like, hey, what you got on the radio right now?
You know what I'm afraid of? I just thought of this. I just thought of this. The next time we go to Puerto Rico, it's almost certainly just going to be me and Marcy. I mean, that.
Ooh, do you ride shotgun then?
What do you do?
Wait, I mean, I'm just thinking, if the family's not in the car, do you still ride shotgun? Wow.
Now, you know what?
Because that puts the relationship in a different light.
I mean, you have been married for a long time. It's not like there's an expectation that you have to like hold hands or something in back.
But wouldn't it be odd to not sit in the back seat with your wife?
No, I mean, let her feel like she's being chauffeured around town on some kind of, in some kind of limousine situation.
No, you know what we'll do? We'll take the boy with us. Only Katie's off to college. We'll take the boy with us. They can sit in the back.
Yes.
I can still ride up front with Daniel.
Yeah. Did you ever like laugh at something he said and put your hand on his thigh? Do you ever go like ha ha and like express your affection through touch as a woman will do?
How old a man is he again?
I would say he's 27.
Okay.
Did you ever touch his arm?
Only when I hugged him goodbye.
All right, because sometimes that's a big thing in friendships or even with women. If they touch you, it means like, hey,
You
like,
lean
I
in
like
to
you.
make a point, or you lean in, boy, that was a really funny joke, and you chuck him on the arm there. Yeah.
Did you ever tassel his hair?
No, I think the handshake, and then you take your left hand and you put it like on the tricep of the person you're shaking with. That's like the first stage of familiarity,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get the handshake that turns into a hug. Eventually, we'll just be at the hugging phase of our relationship, where there's no handshake; it's just a hug.
Yeah, maybe you could make up your own handshake.
Try something with Jaffe when he walks in here in a few minutes.
Jaffe would hug me in 10 seconds. Jaffe's a hugger.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Jaffe
he's one
will-
of these athletes.
Yeah, he likes to hug Fred and throw him around a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
he does that.
different.
He does that rough hugging. He does like the
Yeah.
shoulder massage that hurts. It's under the guise of affection, but it's really to inflict pain.
Right. And it's getting less and less intimidating the older and older he gets. I'll be honest with you. It's not so much now as it was, 20 years ago.
Oh, he's a shell of a man. He's playing hurt.
So, do you know if the mother of the friend of your friend has reached out to Daniel yet?
No, I do appreciate you giving me Daniel's number and trusting me with that. But I'm out of it now. I've done my duty. I'm not gonna stay on top of this, to be
But
honest
stay
with
on
you.
top of it just for my purposes. I did you the favor of sharing the numbers. Stay on top of it. As that return
I'd
the
imagine
favor. Friends-o.
I'd imagine, and this person, I guess, is in some way in Sarge's orbit. So you know that they're.
Oh, you left that out yesterday.
No, I told you several times off the air that they were in Sarge's orbit. I think I said it on the air that they were in Sarge's orbit.
Hold on. Let me see if this is true.
Sarge, GPT, is booting up.
Hey, Sarge.
Sup.
I have a question.
Sup, Fred.
That's Hardy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Sup, Hardy.
There we go.
Sup, Sarge GPT. Is this person that Fred was talking about yesterday in your orbit?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll tell you, it takes you so long to answer the simplest of questions.
And he
Absolutely.
Started off calling Hardy Fred. There are still bugs.
Oh, there's a lot of bugs.
We
I'm
need
going
to
to
be
say
worked out on this.
I mean, this is like the. analyzes the Bruins for Nesson. He is involved with the NHL Network and so much more, and he is co-host of the Morning Brew, along with Andrew Raycroft, who there was something that came up on Instagram of like celebrating 25 years of hockey in this millennia, and it said big debuts in the year 2000, and had Andrew Raycroft as one of them.
Yeah, he's a goalie.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. Thanks for adding to that.
For who?
Well, at that time, Boston Bruins.
The Boston Bruins.
No
yeah.
kidding.
Actually, the Boston Bruins
I
organization.
thought he's just your podcast buddy.
Morning Brew, Jaffe and Razor. No, he's great. Yeah, it was a good debut.
Yeah, but he was like one of the players that they mentioned. Like it had a
They
list
should.
of like 6 players, and he
Yeah.
was one of them. Not a star-studded year for debuts. A star-studded year for retirements. There were like 3 guys that have been playing for like over 20 years that retired. in
Crazy. That's
2020.
25 years. Now you know you're old when you're like, that can't be 25 years ago.
And it's funny, just real quick, when you look at your kids and you're like, okay.
You
like,
don't know 2000?
No, but they've been around for it feels like they've been around for a long time. But then you think of like popular culture of sports, 16, 14 years ago, you're like, well, that's not like, there hasn't been like generational changes.
Right.
Things have moved very slowly in terms of that. Like, the 60s were remarkably different from the 70s. The 70s were remarkably different from the 80s. The 90s were remarkably different from the 80s.
And since then, it's been the same.
Not a lot of change. I
No.
got to be honest with you. There has not been like
it's just 'cause
anything.
you're older. That's why.
No,
the younger
no,
generation.
no, Billy. When we were sitting around in the 90s, you could talk about 70s culture and what it was like with disco and the Vietnam War and all that stuff. If we're just sit around now and talk about culture in the year 2005, what does that bring to mind? Nothing.
Yeah, so it's not
Nothing.
even being old. I mean, 2005, I was 30, so like it's not like I was old. Like
I was
nothing.
having a good time. Yeah.
yeah, I was having a great time.
The last
Like,
decade you can talk about is the 90s.
Yeah, it's like seriously, like what in terms of like culture, like art, like what music, comedy, like what major shifts were there? Like TV from 60s to the 70s was, the Johnny Cash Variety Hour, the Sonny and Cher, into Saturday Night Live, into like, All in the Family. Then that turned into the 80s. There was a huge shift. And you had like Eddie Murphy doing stand-up, and that all thing happening. You had punk rock music in the 70s evolving into the 80s, and then into the 90s, the explosion of grunge music and all those things. And then pretty much since then, it's been just, I guess EDM has happened. Like the explosion of EDM, but that was 20 years ago. So I don't know what to tell you. What the hell's any different
I
except
guess
for the
you're
internet?
right. 2000's on. It's been nothing.
Nothing.
It's like a dead, and I'm
The
part
NHL
of it.
changed in
I'm part of it.
2004.
It's, yeah.
So I'm sure it's in some way connected to the advent of smartphones and the internet and the proliferation, everything going digital and online, where we become more hyper focused within ourselves as opposed to experiencing and getting out and having like major cultural changes.
That's probably very true.
Has there been a revolutionary like painter or photographer that has like changed the game that everyone knows in the last 25 years that you can think of, like an Andy Warhol?
Banksy.
Okay, there you go, Banksy. And then how long ago was that?
2000s, I think.
Yeah, like the aughts.
Do you know what Banksy is, Wallach?
I have no idea.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Wallach.
No idea.
Why did
Exit
you get
through
so
the gift shop?
Why'd you get so angry at him?
Because it's part of the zeitgeist.
Okay.
Do you know what Banksy is, Chappie?
I've heard, but don't follow. No.
Well, you don't have to follow, but you're
Yell
aware
at
of the
Chappie
name.
now.
No, he knows who it
I
is.
know but
Does
I
it?
don't
Who
know.
is it?
I'm
Who
very
is it?
impressed you said Banksy.
He's a graffiti
Yeah,
artist.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And he's been proliferation, but I couldn't tell you. It's like that's a.
It
Banksy.
doesn't matter. It's the same with like I know Warhol. You could go like the Campbell soup can
Mm-hmm.
probably, but you were right. That was very astute of you. You know what? Impressed.
Okay.
Legit impressed. All right, here we go. Billy Jaffe.
Morning.
Much like culture hasn't changed, that cannot be said of the Bruins.
Lots of change.
That was good.
Thanks. Now, let me tell you this. You're around. You're at the rink and everything else. I don't know how much you are with the team.
Mm-hmm.
But leading into that trade deadline, did you get any sense that major things were about to happen?
Not that major. We had. I said on your show, we talked about that before, that I thought they would trade somebody with term. I thought they'd make it one deal, and then remember I said they'll make more deals by the NHL draft. No doubt that they would make more. Did I expect those three to happen in a matter of an hour and a half? No, I didn't. Now, it was a crescendo, kind of a wave that kept building, and you're like, okay, good first deal with Coyle, and then you get the Carlo deal, and then you see Toronto, and you're, wow. And then, of course, an hour later, maybe not even an hour later, half an hour, 40 minutes later, you hear about the Marchand deal.
In terms of like Bruins fans and critics and experts and everybody who are calling for change, I think they would have been satisfied with just the Coyle and Carlo deals. Like that's a big enough of a change without having to move Brad Marchand. So you can't say the Bruins didn't say, fine. What you think we want change? We think so too. We're not necessarily listening to you, but change is what we're going to do.
They did, especially once they started hearing the returns that they could get. That was the other thing that has to play into it.
Yeah.
Changing their DNA a bit, changing their outlook. Yes, increasing their draft capital. All of that incredibly important. But when it's all said and done, you're not doing those deals unless you're getting those significant returns. Your point is very, very valid, Hardy, that those two deals alone would have satiated a lot of people's desire for it's not a fresh start, it's just a different outlook. And that's, so important. But this team, they went after it. They recognized or identified some players that they felt could change not just how they play, but perhaps how they have a chance to, by getting younger in certain areas and faster, they're hoping that they could increase the opportunity to retool. This isn't a minor retool, a major retool, but to be able to do it quicker.
All right, what do you think about what Marchand turned down? Because the Bruins, it's
the 3-year deal.
The 3-year, they offered him 3 years, and they offered him. I can't believe they did this. And I can't believe they did.
Well, they came up to be. That was their comp. That was where they came up to. And what do I think of the deal? I thought it was very fair.
Yeah. Okay. So all sympathy for Marchand being moved has to kind of go away, because if you look at what Bergeron and what Krejci did, and what Bergeron and Chara, what they did. And then to stay with the organization. Yeah. And Marchand, if he wanted 3 years, what was it, like $3 million a year or more?
No. It was over 6.
He wanted over 6.
No, he was offered over 6. He wanted over 7.
Because there's differing reports on that. So he was offered over 6.
So he sees this landscape out there. I'm sure he looks at other contracts, both within the organization and outside the organization, we're signed, and this is his prerogative. And
no, it is his prerogative.
It's his prerogative. So,
are you surprised he turned it down?
For me, I always say this. It's real simple to say, yeah. I mean, I'm surprised because you got 3 years guaranteed at what seems to be, let's call it 6.25, 6.3. Okay.
Yeah. So he's offered
19 million basically.
Yeah. So he's offered this.
But that's I think it's. I look at it and say I would take that because given my age, given where we're at, given
history,
all that stuff, but. What made him and makes him so great is his stubbornness on the ice, his personality. He is relentless, and this is what he wanted. And so, therefore, what's going to play out? Of course, we're going to wait and see in the offseason. Will he end up saying, well, this is a pretty good deal?
No, they got to take the deal off the table.
I don't know. All I'm saying is I look at it and I'm like, I thought it was a good deal.
Right, because my point was is that, there was this outcry from a lot of Bruins fans, like, how could you let him go? How could you trade him? Easy. And if they offered him 3 years, over $6 million a year, you should be glad he didn't take it. And 2, all this sympathy of, he wanted to retire a Bruin, how couldn't you keep him, is now gone. It's not like they shipped him off against his will. They offered him a commiserate contract over probably what he's valued, and he turned it down. So now your hands are clean.
Short of a Conn Smythe Trophy run for Brad Marchand in the playoffs for Florida, is any other team going to offer him 3 years and $19 million this summer?
Well, I don't know. Conn Smythe is. I know where you're you're getting at. If he has a great run, whether it's Conn Smythe or not, I think, somebody out there might. I'm guessing it'll be harder, Wallach, to get that third year.
37 years old. I'm not. If I'm an NHL team, I'm not offering.
And you're not
years.
retaining your captain, and you're not trying to keep your hands on a legacy. Like for other teams, it's just like I'm getting 37-year-old Brad Marchand.
Yeah, but remember, if you want to use Mark Recchi as the example, when he came to the Bruins, I think he was 38.
Oh, I would have made the trade if I was Florida. I would have signed into a contract.
I understand what you're talking about, the sympathy factor or whatever, but I'm bummed. I'm really bummed. Because,
no, I know, but
and for both,
my point stands is that if he was offered that contract and he left, that's his decision, and no one's questioning his right to make it. I'm just saying this. Woe is me. I can't believe they got rid of Marchand. It's off the table now.
I mean,
they offered him a fair deal and he didn't take it.
I'd agree.
And I don't think he would probably get that in the offseason because I think the only reason the Bruins made that deal is because of his legacy here. Do you agree with Fluto Shinzawa that said he looked like a little behind when he played in the
at
Canadian
times, yeah, and
tournament?
in the Four Nations, yeah. The truth is, and I think I heard Fluto say something similar. There were other players too that you're talking about the elite of the elite.
No, he just said you can't blame him. That's not the way the NHL is played.
Yeah,
but
okay,
he didn't look like the other players on the ice.
Well, there were a couple of other players on all teams that were there, and it was a fast-paced tournament. And at times, but he fulfilled a role that was different. Fred, hello, early morning. Oh,
hey, I almost got 2 years. How dare you, Billy? All right, go ahead.
But it was a heavy pace. It was a heavy, fast paced, and there were times that. But I also thought there were times in that tournament where his headiness was sharp. Was good. But overall, the pace. It was tough. It was tough for him to keep up.
Okay, so and I think his injury and like his no trade and everything. We've been over why the return was less than everyone thought it would be for Marchand. Let's talk about the future. It's been fun watching them beat Florida and watching them beat Tampa. When we have you on, we'll talk about the current team. But this all just happened, and it's been big news. Based on what they got in return,
for everybody,
like as just
collective,
the assets that the Bruins have now on the ice, off the ice, all the assets they have. In your mind, what is a fair timeline for the turnaround? Turnaround of being a competitive playoff team with a chance at a Stanley Cup.
Let's start with fair and competitive. I'd give it 1 to 2 years.
Okay,
I would. I mean, Stanley Cup. That's. Man, oh man, we see these teams kind of reimagine pretty quickly. I don't want to go there. Yeah, Washington's the one that we all use because it was so extreme from last year to this year. I guess, but to me, and I don't want to go too much tangent here, Washington has a couple of things. They've got the us against the world mentality. Nobody thought they'd be this good. Secondly, they have 3 really good young players, 2 excellent. Third kind of, they caught lightning in a bottle.
Did they draft them?
2 of them they did, Protas and McMichael.
Okay.
I think they got this guy Logan Thompson in net along with this other kid Lindgren. That I don't want to say lightning in a bottle, but they didn't know what they were getting with Lindgren, Thompson, and he's had an unbelievable year. But I think the biggest thing is they've utilized the Ovechkin race to beat Gretzky as a real catalyst too. I mean, they've got all this kind of perfect storm stuff that's come together. To their credit, they did add 7 players in the offseason.
Right, and that's kind of what you would look at and you go, like,
and I would say, okay, if you can do all that, if you're the Bruins, they still need a little, and this is what they're hoping, the Fraser Mittens, that they're hoping that these young players can elevate next year. Hopefully, they got Lowry. You got to see where Poitras is at. I heard the Lowry thing.
Oh,
by the way.
It's brilliant.
Yes, but I didn't hear the rest of the thing because you were going off on some Irish name. You kept talking about that.
Yeah, it's called Jazz.
Gotcha. Okay, but 1 to 2 years now. Stanley Cup. I got to see how they support everything else over with the cap going up. They're going to have room.
No, I know, and that's what's interesting. Now, do you keep those picks? Or do you use them?
Both. I think you do both.
Right, because you have multiple first
now
rounders
you've got
2 years from
next year. You've got multiple. So this year, I believe they've got a pick in every round except 1.
Right.
And I think next year they've got
2 first rounders.
I know they got 2 first rounders, and I think they have a pick in every round next year. And then maybe the year after it's every round but 1 again. So, but they have a first round pick, at least 1. the next 3 years. So we haven't seen that for a long time. I think you utilize both. I think you do. You take one of those draft picks. And by the way, the other thing is they got now all these second-round picks too. And don't look past an offer sheet. You understand what that is too? For the NHL, for restricted free agents too. Now that you've got your full, cachet of draft picks, now you can at least entertain the thought of doing that, which you didn't have the ability before.
All right. I'll tell you this, is that Billy Jaffe, you have come correct, and we appreciate it. You are a man amongst men. You're going to be on Nesson this week?
I hope so. Yeah, tomorrow and Saturday.
Did you see any of the cartoon last night?
I saw a little bit of the animated game.
Do you say, why are you wasting all this money when you could be giving it to us to analyze the game?
I think no, they're funny. Those games are fun. Like, did you guys see any of it?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah,
It's fun. The NHL's done it on
in.
I don't know, numerous 3-4 other occasions that I know of as well.
Yeah.
And they're trying now to see, I think, if they can utilize local markets as well to open up another stream of it.
I don't know. The technology is cool, and I'm fascinated at how it works. I'm just curious, like the thought behind it. Like, who is that for? Because
kids are people that are taking gummies.
Kids, okay,
yeah,
it's probably more the latter, because the kids who watch hockey, they watch hockey.
Yeah,
like little kids who are into hockey want to see hockey.
Yeah, I just think that this is it's a different opportunity to try something
And to
create
copy
different,
something that's already existed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, to give another outlet, and maybe Hardy. It's not an invalid question. Meaning, is it 3 to 6 year olds? Is it parents watching with their kids, or is it? I'm not sure, but the technology is pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
and how
The technology is unbelievable.
a virtual reality type thing, and the announcers
future of the
having
game.
fun. Yeah, it's
the
cool.
future of the game. Why even play it? All right, Billy.
Fred.
Enjoy your week, my friend. I have to get them to pull something up and back. But Billy, thank you so much for the time. We'll be back in just a moment.
Thanksy.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
It's Mavs for.
out there. If you want to follow us on Instagram, it's at Toucher and Hardy. I'm at Fred Toucher. I've put up exclusive photos of the art project that Hardy's put out about the assistant greenkeepers and the.
You're very proud of that.
In January, well, I'm proud of you.
Striking images, really.
I mean, they really are. It shows the bleakness of the offseason for these assistant greenkeepers. And then that will add so much more to the beginning of the 98.5 The Sports Hub Golf Show, which starts when?
Masters weekend.
Yeah, which is the first weekend in April, right?
Second, I believe.
About a month from now.
Okay. So I want to play this. It's from at Toucher and Hardy, and it is a video that Nick made yesterday, and here's what we were talking about.
They did add a quarterback yesterday, Josh Dobbs, on a 2-year deal.
Yeah,
Fred, what does this mean for your boy?
No,
what does this mean for Joe Milton?
What this means for Joe Milton is you're going to have 2 first-round picks because this Dobbs signing allows you to jettison Joe to a team, a quarterback-hungry team, because look at the Giants. They're sitting there with the number 3 pick in the draft.
Maybe we can get 3 and 4 in the first round.
And then you package them, and then you go up to 1.
Yes.
And that's what you'll do because Joe Milton for the Giants third, and then now you're cooking with gas, and Josh Dobbs got you in the building. Okay, so that is up there. Here are some comments. We're not getting a first for Milton. Please stop talking. You are high if you think you're getting a first for Joe Milton. He played 1 decent game against backups. A 4th is a reasonable return.
Come on.
They also don't have to trade him. They carried 3 QBs last season.
Oh.
2 things. Are we getting 1 for a rookie QB who played decent game against the Bills' practice squad? Seems far-fetched. Second, if we do end up with a pick, 3 and 4, you pick at 3 and 4. I'm not trading up to 1. So he's saying even if you get the 3rd pick, you don't package them and trade up to 1.
I don't want to do that.
I dare you to name a worse sports talk radio host than Fred Toucher. I'll wait. You're going to trade a backup for the number 4 pick, then you're going to combine the 3rd and 4 for a first. This is a joke, right?
Yeah.
So people are
up in arms, not happy.
How would it?
They think that the flagship station for the Patriots made the suggestion that Joe Milton will be traded for the 3rd pick in the NFL draft. That is our audience, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations.
But this can't be our audience. This is the problem with the internet. So this just goes out.
I don't get emails like this. I don't get idiots emailing me. I mean, for the most part, it's Blind Scott, and then that's 90% of them. And then it's they're even if they're critiques of the show, they're critiques of the show, not critiques of an obvious running gag on the show, which is my dismissing of Joe Milton as a college player and as a draft choice, him playing as well as he did in the final game, costing you the 1st pick of the draft, and then the idea that they're going to jettison Joe Milton for anything of value. But my favorite one is not a first, probably a 3rd. Which is what Geno Smith went for. You know, people go, what did they take him in the 6th round or the 7th round?
6th.
6th round, they took Joe Milton. I mean, you jump 3 rounds, right? Trade him for a 3rd. Why not? I mean, these people could have taken him in the 3rd round, I don't know, last year. But after he cooked with Scott Van Pelt or whatever, Alex Van Pelt, now he's got a year of seasoning with that. So now he's worth it.
Oh, and sure enough, one of these commenters identifies himself as being a girl dad.
Yeah, the guy who said that it's all him, pictures of him and his daughter.
And how he loves his daughter and his wife, and blah, blah, blah. But any chance he gets, he is going to spew unsolicited bile and venom on the internet.
Yeah, there's something
girl
about
dad, love my little girl.
Yeah, love my little girl, but here I am just
making the world a worse place for her.
Yeah, exactly. Just prepping the world for mayhem. Yeah. Good job, buddy.
Hopefully she'll get bullied online. I'm teaching her how to do it.
That's a good point. Isn't that I have 2 teenagers. I'm concerned about what goes on online. I don't want them putting personal stuff up there. But here is their father going nuts on the internet, yelling at people, bullying online.
The less time I spend online, the happier I am.
Amen.
No, I just thought it was funny because I saw the amount of comments and I go, here we go. And I thought it was funny that people actually bought that this station, regardless of my lack of knowledge of sports, that this station was going to talk just talk there about how they should have gotten at first. They should get the third pick in the draft for Joe Milton. I did think that was funny. All right, what do you guys got today?
We were talking about the culture shifts with Billy Jaffe, who was not expecting to be talking about that when he sat down with us this morning, but trying to identify the identifiable trait of the last 25 years. And, you know, you can name one for every decade beforehand, going back to the 1920s. Everything's got something you can say, oh, culturally, that's what was going on. But since 2000, what can you say? Rich says the explanation is iPhone and social media, unlocking great connectivity, but creating net new, unexpected chaos.
Yeah, there's certainly like things that have happened. I mean,
Yeah.
there's dramatic shifts in life. I'm talking about culture, like meaning art, like music, art,
But
film.
it seems like we'd be able to more easily identify it now because, again, I look back on the 90s and say, you could point to the 70s and say, disco. In the 80s, there were TV shows about the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
There was something that you could attach yourself to. So for now, even if we all agree, the 2000s, that decade was about Facebook and iPhones. Well, how's that a cultural thing?
Yeah, it's
not a thing.
It's not a shift of art or consciousness.
I think that's the answer to the conundrum, is what the both of you are saying, is that the rise of technology in this millennium is what has fractured the art and fractured the music so that there aren't these identifiable moments and movements in culture, that it's just all kind of mishmashed and all thrown together, for better or for worse.
Because the difference between establishment culture from the 60s to the 70s got, especially in television, got shifted completely on its head. From the 80s were for the most part, a pushback against the boomer generation of the 60s. Like that, the 80s were a huge pushback onto in literature and all of that, like Bret Easton Ellis and that whole thing. Tart, those authors were kind of a pushback on all of the bohemian stuff. And then you had the cocaine culture and all that, and then you go into the 90s where alternative music, in quotations, took over the cultural landscape, and it was all about your credibility as an artist, for better or for worse, and then it turned into Candlebox and things of that nature. And then, I was in my 20s for the first half of the aughts, so I'm partially responsible for this. It's just that I don't see, if you played Seinfeld right now, Seinfeld could be on TV right now, right? If you played Sonny and Cher, that could never be on television right now.
Right.
If you play that's just an example. You could release The Godfather right now, and it would be a big hit movie. I don't know if you could release 75 Marvel movies back then, and there's culture is not shifted. that much.
I'd be interested to just real quick for myself, you, Hardy in particular, John maybe a little bit. His kids are a little younger. I would be curious to get our kids' perspective on that. Because we're of the same generation. I'd be curious to hear what a millennial or a Gen Z person would have to say about those cultural shifts in the early 2000s.
Well, first of all, in the 80s, hip hop was invented, or late 70s. So that was a huge cultural change. I should throw that in as well. My son has made the statement, "I don't like rock and roll," and what he means by that is, "I don't like music with instruments."
Yeah.
Which is what I think they would push back at, is your old-fashioned instruments.
Yeah.
But then my daughter likes the Lindas and likes Olivia Rodrigo, and when we saw her live, she had a live band. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
And it probably would be interesting to find out what they think, 12, but then you got to talk to them and have a serious conversation.
Oh, no, you got to talk to your kids.
Oh, yeah.
Hardy, you got to talk to your kids. You got to have an open communication.
Be a father to your child.
Yeah, come on. They need that male influence. Come on. Get with it. Come on, man.
They're always saying such dumb stuff.
Get off the golf course and engage with your kids.
Talk to the boy, the
Do you
girl.
hear him in Forsberg? They're just golf, golf, golf. It's about
Never hear him talk about their
listen,
kids.
listen.
I'm done with my golf by the time the kids are done with their school and stuff after school.
But is golf done with you?
Never. From your lips to God's ears, never.
You're sitting there. You're just sitting there, looking for watches, while your kids are trying to tell you that they're desperate for a father figure.
I got to watch.
Oh, nice.
You know what I did? I saved myself $7,000.
You bought it used.
Nope. I wanted an Omega moon watch. You know what I got? A moon swatch. That is a collaboration between Omega and Swatch, and won't cost you $7,000. Cost you about $300. That was my big gift to myself.
Nice. You were still influenced by the Fat Boys and their commercial for Swatch back in 1983.
Yeah.
Which I still remember.
That
very, very bad.
By the way, Boomerang was on. It's been on a lot lately. There are some very legitimate funny parts of that movie. I think it's a kind of an underrated movie. But when Chris Rock says, when Marcus doesn't close the deal with what's her name, and he says, first the Fat Boys break up, and now this. Those are the two worst things that have ever happened.
Robin Givens, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, John, do you have an email? For us?
Yeah, I had multiple people reach out to me, I guess, because I'm the New Jack Swing guy. Apparently, there was a death in the New Jack Swing community within the last week.
Oh, no.
It is Dwayne Wiggins, passed away at the age of 64. Who is Dwayne Wiggins?
Well, he's not the guy from It's a Different World, whose name was Dwayne and wore sunglasses
guy.
propped up. Dwayne Wiggins. No, he was definitely New Jack Swing.
Yes.
Did he go by a nom de plume?
No.
He was in a group.
He's part of a group, a popular
Jodeci.
group. Nope. Part of a popular group called Tony.
Hey, so I was born in 91, so I think I fall right in the middle of like the millennial generation and, you know, was aware of everything that was going on, like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. Put together a little list here. Reality TV.
Yep.
Judd Apatow type movies, you know, the whole Rogan and Bill Hader and all those guys. That, you know, they came up with a slew of comedies in the 2000s. The iPod. As far as shows like South Park, Family Guy, American Dad, so a lot of like cartoons became bigger. The War on Terror, obviously.
Yeah, but those
was
are
huge.
But I'm talking about like art. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah,
go ahead.
but think about like American Idiot with Green Day as like a response to the War on Terror.
Sure, but Green Day were a band that was concocted in the 90s, in very much.
They were,
of the 90s.
but they had like a renaissance in the 2000s.
Certainly.
And like a reinvention and like the voice of anti-Bush's America, kind of.
If you're going to dress up as a 2000s guy for Halloween, how are you going to dress?
You're probably going to have. That's a good point about guys, because with girls, I can think of like the low-rise jeans and things like that. Guys have like the oversized collared shirts, like with like a puka shell kind of thing.
Well, maybe where you're from. I'll tell you this. Just Google late 90s skateboarder, and if you want to see how ridiculous people were dressing with those pants that just were like 55 sizes
You
too
can
big.
dress up as a disco guy. You can dress up as like an 80s club kid. You can dress up as a 90s grunge person. You can go as a 60s hippie. You can go as one of the
50s
Happy Days guy from the 50s.
rockabilly.
How do you dress as somebody to indicate what year you are from the last 25? The answer, I don't know.
I guess Supreme, but Supreme isn't that much different than, it's just a kind of an evolution of style that already existed. So I don't know what to tell you. But I will give him reality.
I'll give you yoga pants, and that's about it.
Reality TV.
And I did
That
like
is
his
true.
point about Green Day, the reinvention there, and that was kind of.
But
like
that
you made a point. They are a '90s band, but they became a completely different thing.
Okay.
In the 2000s.
Well, would you say? Well, Paul McCartney changed the '70s with Wings. Like, I mean, it would that the Beatles are a '60s band.
Linda did, maybe not Paul, but yeah.
Yeah, leave it to you to be a big Linda guy. You probably have 5 Yoko Ono albums too.
I'm joking about the classic.
But are you?
What's your favorite
of-
Sean Lennon album?
Well, I'll tell you, they range. Now I'm starting to cry.
Julian.
It's just too late for goodbyes.
Decent. Julian's not bad.
He was
Sean,
shunned by his kid. Well, Sean was the one that was loved, and
Right.
Julian was left to.
Which is why Julian has good art, and Sean does not.
I've been wanting to cry. Much too late for goodbyes. You can hear me on Main Radio.
At 5:30 on Sunday morning.
Breakfast with the Beatles.
All right, we'll be back with our world famous stack in just a moment.
Best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
Is elongating.
Weekday morning.
Here goes Hardy.
Toucher and Hardy.
I no longer love things.
Let's go. Let's ride.
98.5.
Like, let's roll the dice.
Sports Hub.
We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey! We are Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel as we wrap things up. The biggest... He's got a car, so he's got a... It's a Porsche Cayenne.
Yeah. Oh, nice. It's
brand new.
But no, I thought it was a year old.
Well, I bought it, 2 months ago, so it's got 40 miles on it.
Yes, because you wanted the big red bow on the driveway Christmas morning.
Yeah. I'm like, here's your Cayenne, and he was like, I wanted a 911. If they still make those, I don't know. They probably don't make 911s anymore, huh? I would guess because of 911. You would assume that's not great marketing.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, go ahead. I know so little about Porsches. I don't even know what they're called. Call Seinfeld.
I'm seeing if they still make them.
Oh, they do. All right. There you go.
Yeah. All right. New podcast, Fred. I know how you love them, and I love them too. On Monday, it was announced that Max will be launching the official Big Bang Theory podcast. Now, this is a TV show that is probably on more than any other show that I can think of that I still have never watched an episode of.
If you, because I listened to that Once Upon a Time in the Valley, and I've listened to Once Upon a Time in Bennington, which were really good podcasts. You should hear the ads that they play during them. First of all, they're not ads for products. They're ads for other podcasts, and the people are like, college is your most important 4 years of your life. This podcast is gonna go over the scandals and you're like, no one. This is all good news for us, by the way. Keep making these things, and keep making these other outlets.
Official Big Bang Theory podcast will be dropping every week on all major podcast platforms, and they'll be telling behind-the-scenes stories about the creative process and decision-making. And once again, I must reiterate, I don't know if it's a good show or a bad show. It's on all the time, and I've never seen it.
On satellite radio, which is tanking, they had they were running a promo for Smartless, the ingenious Jason Bateman, Will and Grace, and Arrested Development podcast. And that got all, which is, I'm sure, fine, but it got a tremendous amount of money. The deal that they made with Sirius, you get a full week early. So Hardy, millions and millions, tens of millions of dollars to them to release their dumb once a week or whatever the hell it is podcast, which, by the way, is really have stayed very prevalent in the culture. And you get it a full week early on satellite. Tell the people at Satellite, excellent job. They're really cooking with that technology. They got a real good game plan going. The game plan was to get Stern. That worked. And now that Stern's going to probably retire and they can't afford him, you know what you do is just throw $100 million at three TV guys.
Who's going to give you an hour a week.
And they're TV guys, and there's like a shtick to it. Like, stop. What is it about audio broadcasting that brings out total idiots? Like, just the biggest idiots. Like, I just see it, and I'm like,
to wit.
Your arrow has struck. But I'm telling you that the people that make these like super big decisions are just such morons. You heard my idea.
Yeah. Your idea's a good one.
You make
solid.
Top 15 markets. You take the best personalities from those markets. You make a radio station that's exclusive to the satellite. You can swear. Make it with no commercials. And there you go. You got a New York, Boston, Dallas, D.C. You got a best local programming, live local programming from those markets. Hire the best guys, poach them. $100 million for Smartless. You could poach the best personalities. You could get out of there. $50 million, half the price. Kablowie. Make them be in a room together, too. They can't be all at home. You can hear it, and it's not good. All right. I'm done.
Bye.
Bye.